Potheads and political junkies, you're watching Cannabis Culture News Live. I'm Jeremiah Vandermeer, here with John Burfellow. Whoa, and a giant flame. He's lighting the place on fire. And behind me, Charlo Greene, Alaska activist. It's great to have you here, Charlo, but you're not here in person.
No, I wanted to be there.
You did.
Customs had plans, though.
Oh, one sec here. So, yeah, Johnny, that torch is too loud. Get that thing out of here.
Fine, I need to do a dab.
So, Charlo, I mean, for the viewers out there, they probably know you as the fuck it, I quit girl. That's, a lot of people know you in the movement as that because that was your big moment on the CBS there up in Alaska. And apparently the border guards knew you as that as well when you tried to get into Canada. And that kind of started the whole thing, didn't it?
It did. It's a funny thing about notoriety or fame. You never know who's going to recognize you or know you, and it happens in places where it benefits you, and then it happens in customs where the last thing you want to be is the weed lady. So,
so they recognize you right away.
Yeah, and she was like, "I love you," but that wasn't. I don't think that made her any more lenient as far as what she was looking for. I think that gave her a reason to really search. And so that started everything with them just digging and digging. I was back there because of my dog. I always travel with my dog, Indiana Jones. He's a tiny toy poodle.
Indiana Jones.
And so I'm used to just going through customs. They check him out, check his paperwork. But as soon as she said that, that's when everything just shifted gears and when they just started searching everything. And so after several minutes, he finally pulls out this one black sock, just like a random black sock in my purse. And because it's like new and super black, the tiny little specks of weed on it are enough for him to say when he's pulling it out of the bag, like slow-mo.
Oh, no.
Crazy movie. And he's like, I have to charge you with suspicion of smuggling marijuana residue, right? It's like, residue.
Residue, I know. That's when they really don't have you on anything. The little teeny tiny bit of residue. Because they can still, I mean, this is a real thing. A similar thing happened to me when I had a little pipe, and they just seized it and stuff. But so what did they do, Charlo, when they found the sock with the weed on it? You were there for 9 hours, weren't you?
Yes. So after they did that, that's when they told me I was under arrest, read me my rights, did the whole handcuffs, pat down, get naked, we have to search you, call your lawyer or call one of our, I guess, your equivalent of public defenders, and give me all the passwords to all of your computers and devices, and if you don't, then we're going to hold you and you're not going to go anywhere because it's our right now that we have you in custody. So that was it, them searching and searching and searching for hours, and the result was them basically letting me know I was under arrest, but I had a right to withdraw my petition to try to enter Canada, and that was a way for me to avoid any further penalties. So I was babysat from then on, walked onto the plane and told that I could come back to Canada. It just wasn't going to happen this time, and know that they'll be looking out for me if I ever do try and cross the border again.
Wow. So... Oh, Johnny's taking selfies here.
Well, actually, I'm putting it on our social media.
There you go.
Get more,
So wow. But so now you are allowed to come back to Canada, but you're not allowed to come back right away, I guess?
I guess. Yeah, they put me on the first flight out. They really didn't care where they were sending me. So that was out to San Francisco at 6 o'clock the next morning, me and my dog. So.
Oh, man. And so wait, so now you're back in California then?
So I'm in California now, in Los Angeles. I'm just regrouping. I had my whole weekend planned out to be hanging out with you guys. Clearly isn't the case, so I'm just trying to let everyone know that it wasn't... Well, no, and I do have to take responsibility. As an activist, I know what the costs are when you don't take these extra precautions. I know I'm the fuck it, I quit lady. I know that. So the last time I came to Canada and the last time I traveled to Europe and the last time I went to the Caribbean, I bought a new purse because I knew there would be tiny little specks, and all they need is residue, and that immediately costs you your right, your liberties.
Wow, it's true, and it's one of those things because, there's weed all over my floor, and my socks are probably all covered in weed.
I've learned with traveling, new luggage, new socks.
Yeah.
And I put shoes in a Ziploc bag once, and I went into Mexico. We smell weed, and I realized that I had walked through my grow room with my shoes before I left, and my shoes reeked, and they went through my stuff like crazy. I got out of there, but I was scared, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
I've learned, you know what, new socks, new luggage.
Well, and they really don't screw around. Even when I had a completely clean pipe in my bag. Like, you could see right through it. And just because I didn't declare it and I had it stashed in my backpack, like in my clothes, they claimed that it had residue on it. And it absolutely did not have residue on it. And so,
were you supposed to claim it? Were you supposed to write marijuana pipe from HempFest?
I completely forgot about it. It was just in my luggage. They asked me, I told them that I was at Seattle HempFest, but so I think they knew who I was and everything. But now the problem is that even though they seized the pipe, took it away from me, I wasn't charged, but I swear that every time I go back over the border now, coming into Canada, they are total jerks. They keep me there for hours sometimes. And they search all my stuff every single time and ask me all endless questions. So, yeah, man, I don't envy you when you come back over the border. Just make sure you got everything dealt with, and you'll probably be there for a while.
Yeah, I'll bring a book like you suggested. They don't let you have any electronic devices or any. They'll be actively, thoroughly searching all of that stuff. So I do plan on coming back. I was really excited to bring my crew out there for the Charlo Greene show and do a lot of filming and share the stories out of BC that I know the rest of the world in my audience would love to hear. So, so I know I'll be back. I've really, really appreciated all of the effort that Natasha Wright put into bringing me out there. Thor over at Fant Extracts, he's amazing. And then the whole family at Cannabis Culture, Mark and Jodie Emery, and then you, of course, Jeremiah. All of you guys. I owe you a trip. I'm going to come back. So we're looking at...
and yeah... I mean, you were in Toronto not too long ago, so we know that they won't be stopping you every single time. But yeah, it was the guys from Fant were sad you couldn't come, and we were all sad because we were going to have you hang out. There was we had a little sesh going on, the Black Tie event with Fant Extracts here in the lounge. But yeah, we'll definitely set all that stuff up for next time you come as well. And Charlo, you mentioned the Charlo Greene show. Now, this is something that I wanted to ask you about while you were on the show here. This is your upcoming program that you are working on right now. Please tell us about it.
The Charlo Greene show aims to destigmatize cannabis, the whole world of cannabis, the industry, the community, everything it is that we're fighting for by shining a positive and consistent light on the people, the heart that is fueling the revolution. So that's what we were hoping to do. I know there was a really special family that Fant was going to be introducing me to that they have this really strong connection with, a family that's found cannabis to be their salvation. So that's the sort of thing that we plan on doing is sharing the stories that get me and you up every morning, get us working overtime because we know we have a duty to push this movement forward.
Mm-hmm. And we'll be hosting a show on Pot TV as well as other places. And this is going to be a pretty big event. Now, where are you actually filming? I mean, you were coming up here to do some filming, but aren't you filming it in Colorado, or at least partially?
Yeah, we're filming in Colorado. We're filming in Vegas. We're raising funds right now for a mobile studio. We know the revolution is taking place everywhere, so for us to be stationary in one place, we'd be missing a lot of action. So I have to travel and speak about cannabis reform. So I'm taking the team with me, and I'm taking all of you guys with me so you can see how global this fight is. I mean, me being stopped at customs just really brought that to center stage while this prohibition thing started in the United States, and we all fight so locally because that's where the fight starts, in the United States and in all of the different regions in Canada, up until it reaches where you guys are at. We forget that it's global, and that when I'm fighting for the people in Alaska, I'm fighting for the people out in Jamaica, and I'm fighting for you guys. So that's another thing, is when you see the activists that are really sacrificing for you, that are in Oklahoma, that it's humbling, it's warming, it's empowering.
Yeah, because it's easy for us here in Vancouver to sit here and puff down a whole bunch of weed inside of this amazing vapor lounge where everybody's smoking pot and we're selling pot. It's easy in a way. Well, it wasn't necessarily always easy, though. It took a lot of work from people around here, busting their ass, getting busted. This place has been smashed up several times by the cops. Yep, Mark Emery went to jail for 5 years here. So there's a lot of sacrifices, and there's people that are doing that now all across the United States and in Canada.
All around the world.
Yeah, and even even really close to here, like just on Vancouver Island, they arrested 16 people at dispensaries just a couple months ago. So this isn't, the name of the show today was Cannabis Chaos in Canada with Charlo Greene. And it's because, of course, a big, huge event that happened just a few days ago was us winning this Allard medical marijuana case that allows patients now to continue to grow marijuana at home, inside their homes, rather than have to get it from one of these corporate licensed producers. So that's a huge win, a really big thing. Of course, it's only for 6 months at this point, though, and there's a lot of issues with it. We're going to have to come back to this issue again, but it's a really good start. And
it's an amazing start. Really, we've got Jason Wilcox in the house here right now, and he'll definitely talk more about it and stuff.
That's right. Jason was one of the guys who started the whole thing, the coalition.
It's part of a thing is when Health Canada told us that we had to destroy our medicine, mix it with cat litter, and put it on the curb, and we're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Here, bring this closer to you.
And that all started in 2012, and in 2013, on March 31st, we were supposed to destroy our medicine, and a team came together, and an injunction was put against the federal government, and here we are, 16/24, and
we have that going on, and then at the same time, we had the Liberal Senate Forum meeting. This is the guys in the Senate who are Liberal Party members. This isn't a binding thing or anything, but they had a legalization event, essentially a town hall talk, and they had I'm calling him the marijuana czar of Canada, Bill Blair. He's the former Toronto police chief who's been put in charge of legalizing marijuana in Canada, the former police chief. And this guy's always been a real jerk against pot, and also responsible for a lot of the bad stuff that happened at the G20 in Toronto with people getting their heads cracked and all that. So it's not like Bill Blair's the nicest guy in the world, but Trudeau put him in charge of legalizing marijuana. So he was on television just a couple days ago, or he was at this Senate forum saying that until the laws have changed, the cops have to uphold them, people still are going to be getting arrested. And so we have the leader of the NDP, the opposition party, come out I guess they're not the official opposition, that's the Conservatives, but the NDP, the third party, came out, Thomas Mulcair, and said we need decriminalization now. People like Bill Blair are sending these mixed signals where you have Trudeau up there saying we're going to legalize pot, and then they're saying they're still going to arrest people for it until it's actually legalized.
I think
Everybody thinks
it'll be
mixed
interesting in
signals.
how that whole's happening, because with the Allard case and what it states is that ill patients are granted access and can grow their own. So with an old system, that stays in place.
Yes.
We can't move our licenses, or you can't carry more than 150 grams. But how about a new patient that goes to his doctor and gets a form that says, you know what, you can use cannabis for your medical condition? By rights, the way I look at the way things are, go grow.
Well, and now
There's really too much they can't do about it until they put in this legislation.
See, this is why I called it chaos, because we have so many sort of competing things happening, and then we have Charlo getting arrested at the border for a little bit of, leaf on her sock.
Residue.
Residue.
I won't even go.
It's
a system. It's a system, and someone like yourself that is in mainstream media and is saying that, they're gonna rip you apart. Like we got other friends we know. We get to airports and they search you and they put you in a room and they hold you, and it's just ridiculous.
Well, they like to make an example of people, and I'm sure that's probably why you're a notable figure. So doing this gets them a bit of attention on that end, in a way.
Yeah, but is it the kind of attention that they want? if the nation is moving toward progress, then why would they want this sort of thing to happen? And it seems like a lose-lose on both sides.
What they have right now is they have even residue is going to get you thrown in jail because they know that you're going to put it all over media. We're sitting here talking about it. It's being shared all across social media, and it's putting those fear factors into people like, oh, we can't even have even residue. Like, we can't even try.
You know, it's weird, though, because we have the government of the United States. Even I think Obama has been kind of moving toward descheduling cannabis from Schedule 1. And I think that there's a lot of people in the United States in governmental positions who do want to move forward on this, but it's symptomatic, I think, where we have all these competing interests where there's still police guys, border police guys, the unions and stuff. They'd love to see pot, back illegal again. They'd love to see it because that's what gets them paid.
But that's not the point of their existence. If we're looking at the point of why these entities exist, they don't get to have a self-interest that they serve. They don't get to have a say that only benefits them. That conflicts with why they exist. So all of that needs to be reformed if that's how it's happening.
Agreed. Well, and what's happening now is we see that in action where the interests of the police themselves end up being how they take their jurisdiction enforcement. Like the cops here in Nanaimo are going after 16 people at dispensaries. While in Vancouver, we're sitting here, we have 140 dispensaries and nobody's getting in trouble.
Now.
150. So it's some of these rogue cops.
1 minute warning.
When you give them the option to attack people and bust them or not, the hillbilly cops are going to go after the pot people and the ones in Vancouver aren't. It's bizarre, but man, we really do need the reforms.
Got to take away that option.
Yeah. Well, and Charlo, unfortunately, you're being made an example of this whole thing, but I think it's just like Mark Emery or anybody else. It brings attention to this.
Exactly.
And, and then...
That's what they want to see. They want that. They want it in the media. They want to let you know that zero tolerance.
We want it, too. We want it.
And we want to show... Well, exactly. We're at the same point. We're the ones that are going to stand up there and say, hey, we're not going to put up with this. This is just a plan. It's not harming us anything. And
Happy 420.
Happy 420.
It's 420 here. Oh... Very nice.
And if you're interested in the Extract Zen Party and participation in it, and you want to participate, sponsor, or advertise, get a hold of the guys at Cannawide at info@cannawide.com. And sorry you got busted, Charlo, yesterday. That's whack.
That's like the promo guy.
That's Craig, exactly the expert joint roller. Yes, Extract Zen Party, right in my hand here.
March 18th in Toronto. Sponsor package is available today. Sorry to jump in your interview. It's 420. Cannawide is happy to bring you the 420 today. You can check them out at Cannawide at cannawide.ca.
Canada-wide.
And yes,
Johnny,
Canna-wide.
Why can't I say things?
Cannawide. I did a good job too. He didn't even tip me though, the cheap bugger. Although I did get a plethora of medtainers, I can't lie.
Look at how you guys are, jeez. Give him a kiss, buddy.
If you want to sponsor, if you want to advertise, if you want to be a vendor, if you want to participate in the Extract Zen Party, if you want to get a hold of info@cannawide.ca.
Right.
And don't forget to watch Expert Joints live Thursdays at 420.
Yes, that's Craig hijacking the show.
420.
All right. Well, now, Charlo, I wanted to ask you, of course. Now, I've never had you on the show before. I've wanted to in the past. You did come on Pot TV. You were from Vapor Central, I think, on Matt Murnau's show. But I haven't had the chance to talk to you about. Ow! I'm burning myself. The chance to talk to you about when you actually quit and you went on the air and pulled that stunt that really sort of made things happen. Now, this was something that it would happen spontaneously, though, right? Like you kind of had it planned, but you didn't really know what was going to happen.
No, I had all of it planned out. It was a brilliantly executed PR stunt on behalf of the revolution, on behalf of everything that was at stake for ballot measure 2.
But you knew you were going to swear and everything?
The fuck it part was the only surprise.
Was the surprise? Yeah, exactly.
But everything else, I reached out to the club's youngest member. He was 21 years old and battling testicular cancer. His mother actually reached out to us months prior and asked that he gain access to see if cannabis could help with the effects of his chemotherapy. And so here we were a few months later, and he had gained 15 to 20 pounds. The color was back in his face, and they were more than happy to keep the fact that me, the reporter interviewing them, was also the weed lady they were doing the story on, a secret. So,
So it was a bit of a conflict in a way, I suppose. Or
huge conflict of interest.
Yeah.
As a journalist, that's one of the huge things you don't do. I have my journalism degree. I knew that as soon as I decided to launch the Alaska Cannabis Club. But it wasn't about a job. Again, we were talking about the police and how they're lobbying for all of these things that serve police interests as opposed to the communities which they're supposed to be serving. I became a journalist to serve the community. And if the job wasn't allowing me to do that, then the job wasn't a factor anymore. Like, I am here to serve. That's what it is at the end of the day, and being a reporter was just a job.
Right. And now, of course, Alaska now has changed their laws there. You guys had it was a ballot initiative, right? And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so what are the specifics of that? You guys, there's even home growing, I think, in that one?
So we have adult use. Home grow has been protected by the Alaska Constitution since 1975, actually. You're protected by your right to privacy to grow up to 24 plants and to have up to 4 ounces in your home. But what we did was remove that option for police knocking at your door to say whether or not they smell marijuana, and I get to rush in here and ruin your day.
I see.
Now what the new law legalized is 6 plants. It doesn't minimize anything that we have on the books, but it legalizes 6 plants grown in your home and up to 1 ounce in possession.
Wow, that's really great. And, you know, of course, in the U.S., it's kind of a similar situation. There's a bit of chaos there because you have a federal government who still says that it's illegal and are still trying to go after people. Although I know that this latest government has done a lot to sort of reel that in, I think. But, I mean, how do you feel about the federal situation there? Are you feeling positive about the way it's going? What do you think is going to happen, and what do you think can be done about this?
I think anything that we demand can be done. It's just a matter of us unifying our voice as a force and making sure that progress happens sooner than later. Deschedulization needs to happen. That's just it. There's no way that we're going to move as an industry, especially with marijuana listed as a Schedule I controlled substance. That's just something that needs to happen off the top. That's the first step. And then we begin to see institutions actually able to research. And that is going to be one of the most powerful things, actual proof of everything that we're saying as a community, but to have just black and white on paper, facts that can't be refuted, that's what is going to be the tipping point for everything.
Mm-hmm. And now there's this UN meeting in New York that's happening on the next 4/20, April 20th, coming up, and I just read Kofi Annan's call for the legalization of marijuana. Did you see that one? That's pretty exciting.
No, I didn't, but I was actually just looking into this documentary where he did a lot of speaking on things that were really a part of his philosophy. And so I think that's awesome to hear. I know that there are activists planning on doing a march across the nation, stopping Prue Ungus, actually. So that's a call to action. Anyone that wants to get involved.
Cool. Well, Charlo, now I know that about this whole the Canada thing, you are technically allowed to come back, and there's not going to be any charges against you, is what I'm assuming. Then you've talked to your lawyer about this, and are you off the hook then, as of now?
We aren't quite sure exactly what the situation is. It's a question mark. We were told I could come back, but it was very clear that I was under arrest and charged with suspicion of smuggling marijuana residue.
So I wonder if there's penalties or if they would be pursuing anything on this level against you. Hopefully not, obviously, but I mean, I guess we'll find out soon enough. And if you do find out, please let us know, because we're worried about you. We wouldn't want them to be, Jesus, what could they do to you for residue, though? Like, I guess they could
pretty much do
whatever they want. Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's our government.
Well, Charlo, I really appreciate having you on. It was great to have you on for the first time, and I'm very sorry you couldn't make it here. It's sad that you're not going to be able to be here right now, but we'll get you back soon. Yeah, Jodie's in the house.
Jodie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hi.
I'm so sorry you're not here.
Cool, Charlo.
I'll be out. I couldn't make it out this time, but I have every intention of coming back. I just know I will plan ahead. I'm going to bring a whole new purse. I'll make sure that my dog doesn't have any residue on him as well. I'm not a afro. And we'll just come back and do it even bigger than we were planning on doing it this time around.
It'll be a real huge celebration this time.
It will.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Charlo, for coming on. We'll have you back again soon. I'd love to have you on. We should get you, leading up to your show and everything, get you corresponding on what's happening and what you got prepared. Be fun.
I would
sitting right
that.
Exactly. Awesome.
I would love that.
Cool, Charlo. Well, thanks a lot, and we'll tune in with you soon.
All right. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Peace. Charlo Greene. Wow, so the Canadian border.
The Canadian border
Man.
for residue. So even if you had this little tiny speck on your jacket, Dana, you wouldn't be able to go to the U.S.
Yeah, Dana's in the house.
He's like, I won't even bother trying that border. Screw that.
No, he hasn't tried for a while. You got turned around, didn't you, Dana? At one time?
Many years ago, I used to drive down to Seattle.
Here, tell a microphone. Tell this microphone. You can go there.
Is there a camera?
Yes.
Hello?
Oh, where's
Hello?
Alyssa? She's hooking it up.
Okay, well, there we go. Well,
There you
yeah, I
go,
used to
there.
drive down way back in like the 90s. I used to drive down to the Seattle Hemp Fest with our crew fairly often.
Yeah.
Cops say, where are you going? Seattle Hemp Fest? You got any weed? No, that would be silly. All right, see you later. And it was never a problem, right? It always went down. But one time we were driving down, a bunch of us, and the guy was like, one of you must have a criminal record because you got all these weed books. And we're like, well, can't you check that? He's like, no, you have to go and come back with paperwork saying you don't have criminal records and you can't bring these Cannabis Culture magazines across the border.
Oh, man.
So we're like, all right. So we drive to like a head shop in Surrey. We drop off all the magazines. We go to the RCMP. We all pay them $30. Within half an hour, they got back our criminal record checks, all 100% clean. We drive down to the same border crossing, and the same guy's there. And he's like, hey, I told you guys not to come back. And we're like, no, we're waving our papers at him. No, we're all good. So he brings us in, and he just makes us wait for an hour, won't talk to us until he goes off shift. The next guy comes on. He's like, what are these guys doing here? And we're like, we got all our papers. He's like, oh, well, then you can go. Let's just go. But that guy was just pissed that we had, like, done what he wanted. He didn't want us to get down to the States.
Did they really do that? They actually pulled
But
that off.
I got banned years later. I was trying to fly down. It was early morning flight. I probably looked all red-eyed because it was early morning and because I'd been smoking weed. But when you fly down, it's a lot more challenging. And the guy there asked me, where are you going? And I said, Seattle Hemp Fest, which I know now was a mistake. And he said, oh, have you ever smoked marijuana? Well, one of those pot smokers. Have you ever smoked marijuana? No, I should have said, no, those pot smokers are wrecking it for the hemp movement. We just want the... But I said, I have in the past.
Yeah.
And those 5 words, I have in the past, he was like, okay, you're not coming back. Go talk to that guy. You're banned. And they said, if you smoked marijuana, if you ever come back, we're going to seize the car you're in. We're going to charge you, blah, blah, blah.
If you even admit to smoking, they can ban you from
I smoked it in the
ever.
past, which like Obama and our Prime Minister and pretty much everyone else in Canada has done.
Yeah.
But, and I tried flying to Australia several years later, and it was booked via LA. At the airport before that, the customs guy starts checking my arms for tracks. He's like, "Oh, you're in file as a confessed narcotics user," and I'm like,
Jesus.
"Oh, I haven't." But they didn't, it
Confessed
wasn't because I'm
narcotics
like
user,
Dana Larson, pot activist, or anything like that at all. They had no idea who I was, or that I was like a weed guy. It was purely because I said I was going to the Hemp Fest and I smoked pot in the past.
Got to be careful at the border.
I could maybe apply for one of those exemption things to try to go down, but I've never really bothered. But that happens to a lot of people. I'm not certainly not the only guy who's banned from the U.S. for bullshit like that.
Young girls, people, all kinds of people that have been banned.
Me, myself.
Yeah, there you are. No, it's not just a disembodied voice anymore. It's Dana.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like this.
There we go. That's good.
I said, me myself, I had possession of marijuana when I was 14 years old, and I was down in the U.S. and they ran my record. They told me that I could go around and go over tap, but I could not go through. And that was in 1991.
Don't fall over.
So I haven't really attempted since. It was really pointless. Figured, hey.
No, yeah, they have very good access to all your information. But I mean, just if they ask you, didn't they ask? Because after that happened, one time you went across and you said they asked you if you'd ever smoked pot.
Yeah.
And you like just didn't answer the question or something.
I didn't answer it. I long-winded an answer, and so it didn't end up affecting me. But they screwed us around a few times. Actually, when we went down to visit or to see Mark.
What is pot, anyways? And what does it mean to
smell
smoke?
that stuff
What
when
is
I was
it?
a kid.
Who are we in this
And I was always
right now?
wondering what that was.
What is time?
When I went down with Tia and a bunch of others, though, they pulled us over and they looked us all up, and we could see them looking at Cannabis Culture, reading our posts, reading all of that stuff. And they kept us there for hours doing that. And then finally, they just let us go, and that was to visit Mark when he was being sentenced down there, actually. But that was the only time going down to the States that has been a problem. Usually when it's coming back to Canada, they always are jerks to me now because of that pipe. They're like, immediately, who's Jeremiah? If we're driving, they're like, get out of the car, lift up your pant legs, take your shoes off, all that. They make me take my pants off usually or lift my pant legs up.
You like that?
Do you have to lift your ball sack and spread your cheeks and stuff?
He does this.
I've done that many times for Canadian customs.
I actually get really cocky with them now because every time they do it, I'm just like, what are you guys going to do? Where's the anal probe? Like, what do you guys want? And I always make fun of them saying, hey, didn't I see you at the Vapor Lounge?
So definitely Jer spends half of his day.
I've been strip searched probably
he 100%
2 dozen
spends
times.
half of his day at the border every time you go there. You plan ahead, 6-7 hours always? Because, I mean, with those remarks, guaranteed.
Sometimes I do, yeah.
I got caught
At
years
the airport, I can't do anything.
years and years ago when Mark was first starting doing the
with me
seed
to the
thing.
airport.
I flew to, he was people to Amsterdam to go buy seeds, right? Because the
Yeah.
Dutch wouldn't ship them over. So you had to go there and buy them, and then you'd put them all in the corrugated cardboard and mail them all back, right?
Genius. That's great. They
Giving
have
away some
little
trade
slots.
secrets here, I guess that's all right. Yeah, you'd go to Amsterdam, you'd buy a bunch of seeds, and you'd send them all, mail them all back, right? But the one time I went there, and the one seed guy didn't have a couple of strains that we wanted until like the day I was leaving. So everything else had been mailed back. So I said, I'll just bring these ones with me. I'll just stick them in my crotch or whatever. It'll be fine. I got a couple of 100 seeds of I don't know what strain from the place. But I foolishly had some of the receipts still in my bags, right? I could tell I was not an experienced smuggler. And so the customs guys in Vancouver saw the receipts, and they questioned me, searched me, found the seeds. They were confused about seeds. This is before anybody was thinking about seeds or what the hell. So they just let me go, but they said, you're going to get searched. And for the next 5 years, and I used to go to the Cannabis Cup all the time and go to Europe quite regularly back then. And they said, for the next 5 years, you're going to get strip searched every time you come back.
Oh, man.
So I got strip searched quite a bit. And you get used to it. It's just the time and hassle more than anything else,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's like, meh.
But you get used to
Mind
it.
the public
I told one of
violation.
the airplane guards to fuck off once. That was not a very good
That's
thing to do.
you don't want to do that.
Yeah, they hit a red
No,
button.
no. You want to be nice to everyone.
They hit a button there, and they checked everything. They actually checked the lining inside my luggage like every inch.
That's not even as bad as when I was at Heathrow. I swear this happened. I was at Heathrow, and they put my bag through the swab thing or whatever, and all the red alarms started sounding. I saw the lights come on. It was like whoop whoop, and they're like, "Excuse me, sir, do you have any explosives in your luggage?" And I was like, "Of course not." But then these two guys with machine guns. Here, we should get you the chair from the other side.
Too late.
All right.
He's like, I'm right here. Come on.
Anyways, there was
move
guys
over.
with machine guns. Eventually, they've realized I didn't have any explosives. But I think if you have like any kind of like fertilizer, I was at Cannabis in Spain, and there's like gardening supplies and stuff. So maybe it was something on my luggage that caused their, that's how you make explosives.
I've
I
had
guess.
absolutely
I
no
don't know.
problems
I don't make any homemade explosives, so I
Just
wouldn't
That's
the
a good
one time
idea.
in the
Yeah.
States once, but when I go to
I swear.
Europe or anywhere across Canada, I actually bring my bag and I open it with jars of weed, and they quickly want to just not want to see it.
Yeah, you show them the weed at the airport in
All the
Canada,
time.
right? They don't care.
No problem.
They're just like,
What do
all
you
right,
got?
sir.
Jars of weed, yeah, we don't want to see that.
Yeah. Cloakey used to do that. He'd have like a pound and open his bag, and they're like, all right.
Well, I mean,
all right.
even when we were going to the events in Amsterdam and Spain, we go to Jamaica. Mark Baldman, he brings his pipes with him. You just got to make sure they're clean, and you tell them that. What's that? Oh, it's a pipe.
Yeah.
It's a glass.
So, Dana, while
Piece
we
of art.
have you here, you've been working on this legalized petition campaign. Now, this is an official position by the Canadian government, sponsored by Elizabeth May, even.
Yes. There's actually 3 petitions going right now. I think ours was the first of the marijuana ones to be launched and
And
has
the
the most
best.
signatures. It's got about 7,000 signatures. Well, they're all pretty good. Ours is the most comprehensive.
Yes.
Ours has 8 points on it, which I think for the first 4 are things the government should do immediately. Stop arrests for possession and personal cultivation. Get rid of the stupid bong laws that are still being enforced across the country. Okay, what other 4 things now? I'm going to remember them all off the top of my head.
Oh, here we
That's
go, putting you on the
2.
spot.
I'll stop raiding dispensaries and let cities, municipalities regulate them as they are currently doing. That's number 3. And what's the 4th
Did you say
thing?
home growing in there?
Oh yeah, they stop arrests for personal possession and personal cultivation.
Yeah.
So that's the first one. There's another one I gotta think with. And then we want them in the long term. We want them to take within a year. Yeah, I mentioned that one too.
Oh, you did. Okay.
And then we want them to take cannabis out of the CDSA, let provinces and municipalities regulate it, and make sure. Oh, the first one was also in the first four was to basically support the court decision. Now let patients continue have a doctor's thing, continue growing their own cannabis, and not appeal that decision. Cool. So it lays out a groundwork for legalization, and to let farmers start harvesting the resin from their cannabis plants and use that as well. So
there's one thing we always got to take contact to is a lot of patients out there who can't afford it. We need coverage for a lot of cannabis products. I mean, a lot of people who are on low income and suffering disease, cannabis coverage is one thing that I fight for too and stuff.
Well, one of the other petitions that's going forward doesn't
quite an insurance company.
You know what? It should be covered under our
blow my mind. Yeah, well, one of the other petitions that's going forward is one to eliminate GST from cannabis, because we just lost a major court case saying that cannabis is not zero rated, even though it's really a prescription. The government won't call it a prescription, and that means also that doctors can charge you to fill out the paperwork for your medical marijuana, because they can't charge you for prescriptions, but they can charge you for paperwork.
Yeah, and they charge a lot.
And so this one is sponsored, I think, by a Liberal, actually. This one calling for and it's actually Bedrocan is behind it, who aren't always our allies, but it's written in such a way as to include dispensaries and to include all medical cannabis. And I think our friend Hillary Black, who works with Bedrocan, kind of helped to get that in there. Yeah, and so. So that petition is, even though, that petition is good, though. We don't want GST on cannabis for anybody. LP shouldn't have to charge it either, right? I mean, we want patients to get the cheapest best pot they can, and you should have to pay GST on it. And then there's another petition going, which is basically reinforcing the part from ours. It just says that legalization should include the right to grow your own cannabis. And that one is sponsored by a Liberal MP, Nathan Erkine Smith. He's the one who tweeted to me, "Thanks for the weed, I haven't smoked it yet." So he's a pot-friendly guy. I'm sure that the Liberal Party told him not to tweet that and don't big jokes with Dana anymore. But he's supporting that one. But the main thing is these petitions need a lot of signatures. We got 7,000 so far on our main one, and the other two have got a couple of thousand each. We need to get at least 20,000, so we have more than the top one, which is one about people's right to have rifles and stuff. And I'd like to get 50 to 100,000 signatures on it. And even Americans can sign it too. It shows up as being from another country, so you're not like anybody can sign it, whether or not you're Canadian, and it helps to the total. So even if you're not a Canadian and you're watching this and you think Canada should do that, just sign it. Don't lie. Put your information in, and you'll show up as an out-of-country person. So I think that's allowed. But the main thing is that we're going to have this Parliament's going to have to answer. But so legalizepetition.ca.
3 months or 4 months?
We get 4 months to do it.
4 months.
We've only been up for about 2.5 weeks or so, but we're starting to lose momentum because you get a whole bunch at the beginning, and then everybody who's the easy hits have all signed it, and we got to work on some of the harder ones. But legalizepetition.ca is coming soon. If you go there now, there'll be some Latin filler text there. But give us a couple of days, and we'll have a beautiful website there. And I'm going to be doing some other stuff, too. I'm going to try to buy a billboard in Ottawa in a couple of weeks saying stop the arrests and promoting our petition there. Hoping that'll get some coverage. And I'm actually going to do a national tour of Canada starting in April. Nice. I'm going to go across the country, hitting all the big cities as I go. Doing one stop in each major town, then I think 4 stops in Toronto, all the way to Halifax, and then I fly back to Vancouver on the 19th, so I'll be here for 420.
But you're not telling them why you're going.
I'm just getting there. Yeah. So what I'm doing is I've got. I guess I can announce this on here. I haven't announced this publicly elsewhere yet, but I've got upwards of 1 million high CBD cannabis seeds, and people are sending me a lot of their high THC cannabis varieties as well. I just got a film canister in the mail today, and people have been showing me their big Ziploc bags of seeds they've been saving and didn't really know what to do with, and didn't want to throw them away, and now they're going to get a home. So I'm promoting a campaign, Overgrow the Government campaign, which to me, we've got almost everything else in place now, right? I mean, all the laws are still the same. Bongs and books are still against the law. Yep. Selling seeds is against the law. Running dispensaries is against the law. But we're doing all those things. And I can go on the news and say, yeah, I've got a dispensary, I sell pot, I smoke pot, I do, and nothing's going to happen. But if I go on the news and say, I'm growing 200 marijuana plants in my basement, and I don't have a permit, screw the government, they're still going to arrest me. So growing pot's the last frontier. And so the free seeds that I'm going to give away, I'm not even going to charge people postage. I'll mail them to them for free. But the caveat is, although if they want to pay for postage, I'll certainly take the donation. But the caveat is you've got to grow these plants on your own property, openly and freely. So either your front yard, your backyard, your porch, your patio, in your window, windowsill, but I want you to grow this cannabis openly. And if we can get 1 million cannabis plants grown across Canada this spring, that would be wonderful. And
there is some danger involved in that, of course.
I'm going to work with, there is some danger. I'm also going to work with some people in each city to give them larger quantities of seeds for them to go and plant out in other areas, in front of the cop shop, in parks, in front of City Hall, that kind of thing. But the goal is most people to grow their own plant. And you're right, it is risky, and it is dangerous for some people. So I would encourage you only to grow about 5 plants, so you don't qualify for any mandatory minimums of 6 plants or more.
There you go.
But if you do have an issue, definitely let us know. I will, I can't guarantee you're not going to have any problems, nothing's going to happen, but I can guarantee that if you do get charged for this, we will shine a light on what's happening, we will try to help as much as possible, and we will try to make sure that, we're there for you. But like I said, I can't guarantee growing these seeds is not going to get you in trouble.
Right.
But I can guarantee that growing these seeds will help you be part of making history and being part of the revolution, and that you'll be able to say you're overgrowing the government. And
100%.
although there is a risk, I really don't think that anyone's going to have, no one should be going to jail for growing 5 plants in Canada at this point. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody were to plant some at Parliament this year or at Bill Blair's, front yard, if they know what his address is or anything else. So we're putting that together, and that'll be a different website I've got called overgrowcanada.com, which is also in the work, should be ready early next week. So this is not I'm going to put a press release out on Monday, I think, if I can get the website ready and everything. Should be early next week. We're going to announce this. And that's the first part, is the seeds. So that's the Overgrow the Government tour. But that's not even the whole thing.
What's
so
the
we're
next
doing
part?
that.
Clones?
So I'm going to give away all these seeds. I know I don't have access to clones, but I would encourage people to sprout the seeds, get them
And
going
you said,
before you plant them.
Just before we move on, you said you had 1 million seeds. What does 1 million seeds
Well,
look like?
I'm
Can
kind
I
of
swim
honestly,
in it?
I'm kind of making up that number, but I might have more than that. I've got 2 buckets. That big, about that far around.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's over 1 million. What
It's a
I'm going to do
weird
is I'm going to
shaped
weigh
bucket.
out. Well, no, it's like okay, from the ground. I don't know. It's about 4 foot tall.
Okay.
And then it's about 1.5 feet across, 2 feet across, like a big bucket.
Okay.
I got 2 of those.
5
I'm
gallons.
going to
Okay.
weigh out 100 seeds and then weigh the buckets and that. But I can get more too if I want them. So I'm just going to say 1 million seeds. I'm pretty sure I've got more than 1 million. I did a germination test on them, and they all half of them sprouted within 24 hours.
Cool.
The rest are all germinating as well. All right, so that's part 1 is the seeds. And then I'm also doing this national tour, 12 stops, where I'm going to give away seeds. I'm going to do a talk. We're renting halls in places. I'm looking for about 100 people to stop, I hope, or more, better, but I'm getting for 100. But I'm also going to give everyone who shows up a free gram of pot as well. So I'm going to be doing a tour, a talk. You're going to listen to my talk for an hour to 90 minutes. And then you're going to get a gift bag at the end, which will include some seeds, which will include my book, The History of Cannabis, but will also include a gram of BC Bud. So that's the free marijuana Overgrow the Government tour that I want to do.
I love it.
I think it'll be fun. I think there's a chance someone might try to arrest me. Probably not really, but maybe Saskatoon or
Saskatoon.
Winnipeg. I know Mark got busted for passing a joint in Saskatoon. And he went to jail for 3 months, or at least got sentenced for 3 months.
Yeah.
But he had a long list of priors, and it was different. And it's a different time. If I go to jail for giving away grams of weed at this point, it would be pretty amusing and strange, because I've done a lot of other stuff which I have not ever been charged for. But so anyway, so that will be fun, and that's going to be in early April. Overgrow Canada. I'll be sending out press releases and stuff, and I hope that if you're watching this and you're in Canada, and if you're in one of those cities, you can come out and listen to me talk and get some seeds
That's
and weed
fantastic.
and have a fun time. And
What a great
I'm
idea.
just a
I
little
just
worried
said
about
that-
getting venues, because when they see in the ad in the paper saying Dana's going to give away a gram of weed at the public community center where I've got or the school or whatever
yeah.
where I've got a room, right, or the church
Local
we've rented
daycare.
or something. So. Yeah, so we got to figure that out. But if they kick us out, that'll just get more
You sound
attention.
like
and
it's a gift
I'll
bag
do
at
it
the
on the
end of
street if I
everything.
have to or whatever, right? But I'd like to have a nice, comfy hall if everyone to sit down. And I'm going to talk about the history of cannabis in Canada. I'm going to talk about how you can open your own cannabis dispensary in your own community, and how to overgrow the government. And then I'm just going to answer questions and talk to people about anything else they want to talk about.
Well, that's awesome, Dana.
That was good, but
I've always said
don't
2016 is the year we grow our own, and you're doing that for us here in Canada. It's the best part. I mean, yes.
Well, 2016 is like a weird kind of mixed up 420, right? Because 16 is 4 squared, and then there's a 20 at the beginning, right? So it makes 204. I don't know. I try to turn
4
everything
times
into a
4 is
420.
16.
Yeah, and then so you got 204 if you kind of do that, which is kind of like 420. Like it's a mixed up. I don't know.
Numerology, you can pretty much
You
do
know
that
what?
with
You
anything.
pull a
Yes, you can
420 out
do
of there.
it.
I'm for you. Right on.
But now, so
It's 420.
Dana, you were talking about the history of cannabis, and you have a book about the history of cannabis in Canada and the illustrated history of cannabis in Canada. please tell people about the book and where they
I'm already getting ideas for the second edition that I want to put out in 2 years once we sell out this one, because I'd like to re-release it actually with a bit more stuff. But right now
You'll
it's...
be bringing that on your tour to sell, I'm
I'll
sure.
be bringing everyone's. That's gonna be part of the giveaway. Actually, they're gonna get a free history book. I might try to charge people like $5 by. I'm hoping to get sponsors actually as well. Maybe Pod TV could be a sponsor. But I'm gonna be looking at some of the other businesses out there. If I can get like 12 businesses to give me $1,000 each or something, and then in return I promote them on my tour, I can give out their business card or whatever they want, or grinders or whatever to people when they show up.
Yeah, pretty much. Help you out
and
that's cool.
And that would be because it's going to be an expensive. And I got to find a place to stay at. I want to give everyone weed, and I want to, so it'll be a lot of stuff. But the book is something I'm very proud of. It's the Cannabis in Canada, the illustrated history. It's like 150 pages or something, and it's all in black and white. It's beautifully illustrated, and every page tells a little story about the history of cannabis in Canada, right back from 1606, right up to the election of Trudeau, and everything in between. And a good portion of the book covers the modern history and things that I actually lived through from the early 90s, when we sort of saw the rebirth of the cannabis movement in Canada that had kind of died down in the 80s. It really grew stronger, and all the things that have happened over the last 20 years or so. But also, I think people will find the early history very interesting, because I didn't know a lot of the stuff about how cannabis was so intrinsic to the Canadian economy. In the very early years, how doctors and pharmacies across Canada were selling medical marijuana for almost 100 years, from the 1850s until the 1930s. The first Canadian charged for possession of marijuana bought pre-rolled joints at a pharmacy or a dispensary, basically, and for his hay fever, he said, and the judge gave him 18 months of hard labor. The first person charged for marijuana trafficking was also a pharmacist, who said he didn't consider marijuana to be a narcotic, and he was convicted as well about a year later. RCMP were burning hemp fields in Canada and telling farmers they couldn't grow cannabis anymore when it was banned in the 1930s. I didn't know it had happened like that. They went and burned hemp fields down, and they also went to a lot of places, and the articles say how the farmers didn't even realize that this plant was a deadly narcotic. They just grew it as a windbreak or to get the seeds or whatever, and I'm sure some of them knew it was good medicine, but they probably didn't know it was a deadly narcotic because it's not a deadly narcotic. But the story of that, we get a lot of the American information and the American stories, but we don't really know the Canadian stuff. A lot of us have heard of Harry Anslinger, the American prohibitionist, who was really the head of the American drug enforcement group for a long time, many decades, and was the architect of the drug war.
Raging psycho-racist.
Right, but we haven't heard of Colonel Charmin, the Canadian, who was Harry Anslinger's soulmate and who worked closely together with him. And Charmin was the same thing in Canada. He was the head of the Canadian anti-drug squads for about 20-25 years. He really created, just like Anslinger, he created a whole kind of new network and a whole web of enforcement that he lay at the center of, like a big evil spider, kind of bringing all this stuff together into one anti-narcotics thing. And then he became the head of the UN, the first UN Commission on Drugs. He was actually involved with the League of Nations Commissions Against Drugs, and he was the first chairman of the UN Commission Against Drugs. And he made sure that it was cops and enforcement officials that were on there, and not doctors, and not healthcare people, and that the focus was on enforcement and punishment in prison. And he was very effective at what he did. He was did a great job of building the global war on drugs, and he was the guy who came up with the idea of conspiracy, and that conspiring to break the drug laws was as bad as breaking them themselves. And so there's a page on him in there anyways, and he's a bad guy that I think we should know about. And there's a lot of great stories in there. The first recorded hashish overdose in Canada, which is just the guy got too high. And the story is that in the 1850s, there was this guy who had heard, this doctor wrote an article about this in medical journals. And he said because it was so rare, he wanted to recount the story of this hash overdose because it was such a rare occurrence. And a good friend of his, and we all know someone like this, he really wanted to get high, and he tried pot a few times, and he was like, it doesn't work on me. I'm not getting any effect on it. It doesn't work on me. So the doctor said, well, why don't you try this? And gave him some very strong, pure cannabis extract, which he ate. And then he got super high, and then he started having a panic attack and thinking he was going to die, and I'm flying through space and time and having all these bizarre experiences. And at the end of it, he's like, I will never dare to undertake this experiment again. I learned my lesson and stuff. But it's in medical journals in the 1850s, and I find this quite fascinating that this is something that was happening, and that it was such a commonly used, but these kind of negative experiences were so rare, the doctor wanted to write about it.
That's funny.
And I'll tell you one more story about my history book. If you want more, you got to buy it. But
yes.
In the late 1800s, 1895, the head of the Nova Scotia Medical Association gave a lengthy lecture on cannabis, which was printed in their medical journal at length, and it's about 15 pages long. And in this lecture, he talks at length about medical cannabis use, about all the different ailments that he uses it for, about different forms of ingestion, how much to use. He recommends liquid extract being the best form to take it in. But he also talks about recreational cannabis. He talks about how cannabis makes sex more enjoyable and allows men to have sex longer and not have an orgasm so quickly. He doesn't really talk about sexual pleasure for women, but this is the late 1800s, so they weren't quite as aware of that as yet. But certainly he's talking about that. He's talking about recreational use. He's talking about doctors taking enormous doses of cannabis for experimental purposes and hallucinating, experienced time dilation. The one doctor said how the minute hand on his watch, or the second hand on his watch, seemed to take ages to travel around, and the wheels on the carriage seemed to be going very slow, even though they were traveling quickly. And
this is his story.
So it's great stuff, and if you're really interested, get my book and then go to our website, because everything I talk about in the book, if you're on our website, all the original source documents are there. You can read this whole lecture. You can really, if you're interested enough, I've made it all really accessible. All the original newspaper clippings and articles are all online. So it's fully accessible, and there's a bunch of other stories like that. I'm not going to tell them all right now, but it's a great book.
We would have enough time for
that. I'm very proud of it, so people should take a look at it. CannabisHistory.ca, and if you want to hear me talk about it more, then come to one of the stops on my tour.
Yeah.
And I'll be doing a more in-depth talk about it and giving everybody a free copy and weed and seeds and a big hug. And so
that's very cool.
I
love
my
this
thing.
plan. I love the free seeds and the free weed and the free everything. Dana, you're just consistently pushing it further and further, and man, you're seriously this is what we need.
Well, we got.
I love all of these things that you do, Dana.
I'm just going to say, to me, it's about the civil disobedience, right? And this is what our campaign has always been about. And that's how any change gets made. That's how racial inequality has been addressed. It continues to be addressed in the U.S. through peaceful civil disobedience. That's how women got the right to vote. Was through peaceful civil disobedience. That's how almost any change in a positive way happens.
That's how we got the right to grow.
Yes.
That's how we won our court case.
And I think that's, we haven't ever gotten, one day we'll get the laws changed, and that'll happen hopefully soon. Yeah. But so far it's been the courts, fighting in the courts, and it's been just ignoring the laws, but doing it openly and peacefully and transparently, and finding the weak spots in the law that you can break and that the public will be on your side. Selling bongs and pipes, selling seeds, medical marijuana for those who need it, being able to peacefully gather and celebrate at 420. I think those kind of things are the areas where we can continue to make progress, and I think that civil disobedience is really what's gotten us where we are. We're not legalizing pot in Canada because politicians have said they're gonna. They're doing this as a last gasp attempt to try to retain control over something that is they can't control. It's overly grown past them. We have overgrown the government. This will be the part of the last phase of that. But they're not being magnanimous. Oh, we're going to do the right thing. It's like, oh my God, we can't stop this. At least we can try to limit it in some way and try to control it in some way. It's just crumbling around us, but we're going to continue to make it crumble. And I really think that true legalization should put most dispensaries out of business, and the LPs would all go bankrupt as well. Because true legalization means to me that I can grow as much as my own as I want, and I can buy amazing quality cannabis extracts for dirt cheap prices, what they should be. I should be able to go to a store and buy cannabis buds for $1 a gram. I should be able to get high potency extracts for a couple of dollars a gram. And if you can do that, then I think dispensaries, some will be able to stay open under that model, but most of them probably wouldn't need to be there. And I think that the LPs, whose model is based on growing expensive buds indoors under lights and selling them for prohibition prices of $5 to $10 a gram, I think that shouldn't work
Jason
either.
Jason calls it Molson cannabis.
Yeah, that shouldn't work. Pot should be so cheap that model doesn't work, right? It should be grown outdoors by farmers or in greenhouses and be plentiful for everybody to grow. Yeah. And so I think that model really is what I'm working towards.
Well, good, Dana. And that's amazing about this whole thing, the giveaway thing. And wait, there was something you were just saying that I was going to respond to, and now I forgot what the hell it was. Oh, damn it. That's what happens when you smoke.
Short-term memory loss, man. You get to...
Well, we did make some history this week.
Yeah.
Oh, the decision is great. Jason Wilcox, has he been on already?
No, he's coming up. He's waiting
for you. He's waiting for me. Oh, my God. Well, he's got more important things probably to talk about than me. But it's all part of the same thing. But no, that case is great. I'll let him talk about it. But I mean, that's been fabulous.
Definitely some history.
I
just
worked
my
way in here and started.
I was going to say it's just definitely some history for your next book. There's some history that was made.
Oh, well, yeah. There's absolutely. I mean, and the book, I try to profile as many Canadian activists as I could, and then in the back I included, another 100 and something names of people. Everybody should get their own page, right? But it's just hard. It would have been 1,000, and it couldn't. So I feel bad in a way that I wasn't able to profile every single person.
Can't
but
get everybody.
I did really work to try to include everybody, and I definitely in the back. There was even some people who didn't get mentioned in the back. You probably should have, but I'm going to do more editions and more stuff.
Dana.
But I feel kind of guilty that I didn't.
But
I try.
So
but to me, that book's like sort of my love letter to the pot
Your
community.
book is
Like I
amazing.
try to
It's
celebrate
amazing.
all the people and.
And Dana, somebody in the chat, this is what I was going to say, said Dana Larson instead of Bill Blair. That would have been nice. Yeah, they should make you the marijuana czar.
Well, Bill did say he was going to consult with Jodie when he saw her.
He did.
And, Bill Blair's got his issues, and some of his past got his issues, but I will say he's been saying all the right stuff. So far, he has said,
arrest people?
Except for continuing arrests,
yeah,
that is totally wrong. But in terms of what legalization should look like, he said, we think cannabis should be cheaper than it is now to avoid the black market.
Oh.
He said that prohibition primarily is focused on poor, on non-white, on minorities, and those kind of groups, which is very true.
Oh.
He said that, what else did he say? He said that he thinks, I think he said that people...
Home grow?
Well, I'm trying to think if he did say that or not.
Really?
But the comments that he's been saying, I think...
If he did, then I'll write a love letter to Bill Blair.
The other guy who was like, if you listen to what he's been saying, it's actually the other guy who was another cop who's involved with one of the LPs was like, I'm going to lobby my buddy Bill Blair to make sure he gets us. And Bill was like, I'm not going to be influenced by that stuff. This is not. And I kind of like, I don't know. They should be stopping the arrests. It pisses me off that people are still being arrested right now. That is the worst thing that the Liberals are doing. They should stop that immediately, at least for possession, personal cultivation.
Doesn't make sense.
But the rhetoric they've been
I like
saying
what Thomas
so far,
Mulcair said.
I liked what Trudeau said. I like what Bill Blair's been saying in terms of what legalization should look like so far.
Tommy Mulcair, he's the guy.
Yeah, I'm just
see what
wish he
happens.
had come out stronger before.
I'm going to play his video later on the show.
I really believe if Tom Mulcair had said when he became NDP leader, I support what Jack Layton said, we should legalize it, I think he'd be prime minister now.
He was weird about pot in the first place. He didn't like weed. He thought it gives people schizophrenia and everything else. But, okay. Oh, yeah, J-Mac, we didn't tell you.
And
Weed
he used
gives
to
people
smoke pot.
schizophrenia.
When he was younger, he had long hair, and he was a weed guy and stuff. And when they asked him
he does
about
have a
it, though,
beard.
he was like, I don't want to talk about my past weed use. And it's like, just say you used to smoke pot. Well, why is that? Like, people don't...
He was trying to play it safe.
He was trying to be
Anyways,
weird. No.
Dana,
Okay,
I
I'm
appreciate
done.
you
That was
coming
good.
on.
Thanks
that
for
was
having me
awesome.
on. Boom.
Glad to know you're microdosing acid every day now, and this is a result.
I've done it a couple of times. I probably should start doing it more. I did have some. It's hard to dose it out, but I was taking little 20th of a hits or whatever
Seemed
there
like you're a
every
little
couple
hyped
of days.
today, You got a little extra energy in some way. That's
I
what
had
I'm
a good
getting
day.
at.
I drank some coffee earlier, and I don't know. But yeah, I'm trying to fit it all in.
No
'cause I know
coca
I
tea?
got-
Where's the coca tea at?
I didn't have any coca today yet.
I haven't seen you chewing that shit these days.
No, well, I do it. I don't do it all the time. It's not addictive, man. That stuff. Especially chewing it. It's not really. I find coffee's more addictive.
It's not
Like, if I drink
addictive.
coffee the next day, I
It is
kind of need it. But
addictive.
the coca, I don't know. Everything's addictive, but it's pretty
sure
mild.
it's proven to be addictive, though, isn't it? But maybe
I think like everything, it's
crazy.
dosage and
Everything's
potency, right?
addictive.
I think like everything is dosage and potency.
Marijuana is different.
And
kind
yeah,
of
they're correct. Marijuana's
the
not.
potency of the leaves is much less than taking that. So the up and down ride, it's not like this with cocaine. It's
Right.
like this. And
Still
so I
addictive.
think it's pleasant, but I don't do it every day.
now-
I've got coca leaves all over my house, and I have them around in my closet, whatever. But I don't take them every day. I don't find them really to be addicting.
I know, I'm just
find them
teasing
just to be
you.
pleasant. But I don't know, maybe. Yeah. Anyways, I'm
Coca
done.
tea, I
Right
love
on.
it. Thanks, Dana Larson.
Good stuff. Thanks for having
Awesome.
me. So
Come back soon.
overgrowcanada.com, legalize petition.ca,
That's
Yeah.
but
awesome.
not until like Monday or something.
Yes.
If you can bookmark
Yeah.
them now, but come back on Monday.
We should be able to
and
get it
check
up in a
out.
couple days.
I'm going to say this 2016, the year to grow your own. You're doing that in Canada, and that's awesome, Dana, and I'll thank you for that.
Throw
I think
those
that's
seeds.
really, a lot of stuff, and I'll definitely get behind you with that.
I've had a couple of people say, "Oh, it's the pollen from these plants is going to ruin our crops and stuff," but I
whatever.
don't. I mean,
No.
I'm giving out 10 seeds, so like people might end up with like 4 or 5 male plants in their backyard, maybe, right? But I just don't see that really. And you should have a filter. If you're really worried, go buy a filter and put
You
it
know
on
what?
your
Now I'm
air
thinking
intake.
about, hey, wait a second here. So don't put any in. No, I'm kidding.
But I mean, I don't know if it's going to make a lot. But I would encourage
Johnny's
people to take out their male plants. But I don't think it's. I really don't think we're going to have so many. I mean, even 1 million plants across all of Canada. It's a lot of plants, but it's not like they're going to be on every, like, all around, hopefully. But I'm hoping others will do the same thing and give away more seeds. And I'm going to get more. If I can give away all these ones, I'm going to do more. So.
Give away 1 million and see
Yeah.
what you get next.
But,
Okay,
okay, that's it for me. I'm done.
Awesome. Thanks, Dana.
Right on.
Dana Larson.
Okay.
Grow your own.
Bye bye.
And bye.
Yeah, awesome, man.
Dana Larson. Yeah. Smoking speed before the show.
So now we got Jason jumping in on that
Oh,
side.
J-Dog, yeah. Do you want to come on the same side? I can squeeze into the middle here. It's all good in the hood, but that chair is a nicer chair. He probably wants the more comfy chair. We're making him dance now. Yeah. There, now Johnny gets in the middle. Look at that, we're switching up. Oh, shit. Oh, hold on here. There you go. So that was I knew Dana was coming on the show, but that was a hijack. Jason Wilcox, our next guest on the show, a longtime friend of the show. I remember going to Jason's house like 8 years ago, like when you got raided or something. I can't remember, long ago.
5 years ago.
Yeah, or however long it was. Maybe it was only 5.
2010, wasn't that?
It was a long time ago, but
Yeah. He's like, yep, that's
definitely
2010.
been a friend
Yeah, that's
of
when
mine
everything
for a long
started.
time, friend of the show, on the show many times. And you know, this whole Allard court case kind of was your brainchild and a few other activists, but you kind of we're talking about this stuff from the very beginning, right here on this show, and now we've seen a major success. You must be feeling pretty good.
Absolutely. I mean, how can we not? We just won the right to grow in Canada. You don't need to overgrow the government. The Constitution of Canada just gave you the constitutional right to liberty, which means that if I have that constitutional right, and the other 41,000 people, 38,000 growers, 36,000, whatever it was, growers that were protected. The long run of this case, in essence, says that everybody under Section 15 is equal before and under the Charter. Therefore, everybody will get to grow. Allard sets constitutional precedents for legalization in this country to already grow. You don't need to overgrow. Just plant your seeds and start to grow.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome, man.
Sorry, had to respond.
So now,
It's good. That's what we have to do. And I mean,
Oh yeah, and I love
that's all we talk about.
I love all y'all out there, man. Honestly, I've been partying for 2 days. My friends got like a penthouse for me and champagne and some other stuff I don't want to talk about. But yeah, it was like it was a really long night. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and
yes.
I'm happy to be here now. And
Russian midgets.
yeah, that's it.
That was that fleet of. I heard about those coming to the town.
Yeah. Well, it's very cool, and I mean, obviously, on the show on Wednesday, John Conroy showed up, and there's a great interview with Greg and Al on the From Under the Sea Desk show with John, and John went over kind of like a lot of what this means, and of course there was the press conference where John came out and talked about what it means. We still have a lot of fighting to do. This isn't over yet. This is just a temporary kind of Band-Aid solution on the thing at this point.
No.
But
Hang on. Has anybody read the actual language in the decision?
That's the thing.
We need to understand. Let me just point something out here. This decision is so powerful. The government's not going to appeal. 2 expert witnesses were proven, like we said, and there was no fire, mold, or organized crime. Now, Fire Chief Gracie, I hope the people in Surrey sue you on a private matter for all the stuff you've done to those medical patients, citing that bullshit you just got called out on, my friend. I hope Officer Holquest, you lied too. I hope Officer Holquest gets sued in the city of Abbotsford. If you live there and you were party to any raids, any arrests, and you're a medical patient, sue them.
Yeah.
Go after these green teams. I'm telling you now, it's the next level. Now, what can we do constitutionally? What does this mean for everybody? It means that this decision is likely not going to be appealed, or you're throwing taxpayers' money out the window. That's basically what the judge says. It's very strong
decision. The
it's
stuff
strong.
that he said
Very strong
now,
decision.
and it holds weight constitutionally because the stuff that he threw out was based on a lot of. He brings up the exact reasons why he did, and part of proving Len Garris and these other idiots wrong is showing that growing marijuana at home is not dangerous. And the judge, when he's responding, he's talking about these things, that has huge weight to it. And that even has weight going forward with recreational legalization, because they're going to be damn hard-pressed to stop people from growing at home if there's no reason for them not to. And if it's not dangerous, that means there's no reason for that people
That's
can't
what
grow
I'm
at
saying. Understand what I'm saying. Constitutionally, the right to liberty for all medically approved patients in Canada was just upheld.
Exactly.
Now, it's going to take time for legislation and everything else. Now,
Right.
constitutionally, Section 15, if we legalize, and JT knows this, I've been saying this to all you activists who ushered in the Liberals, good job. It was this court case that's making them allow personal growing in this country.
Yeah.
And thank
They're gonna
God
have
for
to.
all the medical patients out there, all you national representatives, past and present, all you people who fought in the trenches, raised the money, raised $300,000, restrained the federal government of Canada, put them on trial, and secured personal growing for the country of Canada. It's done now. Now we need to move forward and usher in a new model, because you know why? We didn't just strike down a section of the MMPR like we tried. That's all we went for. We actually struck down the whole goddamn monopoly. The MMPR was the monopoly, not the LPs. The MMPR was the monopoly. And we just crushed the whole thing. This judge struck it down.
It's great.
Furthermore, we're getting our money back. 70% estimated. Potentially. We don't know what it is yet. That's
awesome.
all our money. You know why? Because that judge knows that we fought and clawed and did everything improvised and ad hoc to raise the money with a sound, improvised approach, a militant approach. And I'm sorry to all y'all that I bumped heads with over the past 4 years. It took a warrior's mode to finish something that I truly envisioned, I seen, and I knew we could secure. I remember with Johnny V here playing chess, talking about these cats. I remember talking about them on this show. Check it out. They're in the archives. 4 years ago, I said this was going to happen. Now we've got that right. I mean, that right to grow. Understand, I don't even like to say that, to cultivate a plant. You know, that is now enshrined in the Constitution. They cannot legalize and say, now you healthy adults can't grow, but those sick patients can. Now, you know how stupid that sounds?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's already done.
Yeah.
It's time to not grow out and give out seeds. It's time to start just planting your seeds and grow. I recognize legalization is on the corner.
Can't
Now
afford
we
seeds,
need
so
to
giving them
take on.
seeds is a good thing
Oh,
too.
giving them seeds is awesome. And I think it's an awesome campaign. Overgrow, because you don't need to overgrow the government. We already just kicked their ass. Don't need to overgrow them. Constitutionally, it's sound.
Well,
constitutionally sound.
But still, as it stands now, there's still a lot of people who, I mean, the whole injunction part still just covers what it covered before. So
the injunction's dead.
No. So how it covers is ill
It's
patients
ridiculous.
or have access to, or they're granted access. So as it stands right now, what I say is, if you're a patient in Canada and you got a doctor that states that you're using cannabis for your pain control, plant some seeds.
Exactly. Well, this is it. It's interpretation. Now, lawyers will tell you legally to be safe, don't do this.
Right.
Read the decision.
That's what I'm saying.
Constitutionally,
You would be like,
the cops
plant seeds.
still
it's your
arrest
section
you.
no, but this is the thing. Let them hold on. Let them arrest Jeremiah. This is what I'm saying. Let them arrest,
but there's
because
a
we
danger.
need.
Grandma might not be willing to get arrested.
No, but we're not saying,
Again,
you know,
the arrests have not been being persecuted. Only the people running dispensaries are getting persecuted. No growers that I know,
Well, we haven't
no
really
growers
seen
that I
this
know
yet.
have been persecuted. They've been arrested. Their plants have been cut down,
Oh,
and
there's
they've
still
been let
growers
go.
getting arrested. There's still media about growers getting arrested.
Only the big guys. I'm talking about the small guys, just like Johnny's often said, growing 6 to 12 plants, being reasonable
We
with
gotta
their
say
access.
there's dangers
just grow
associated
your
with
own.
these
But
things,
see, the whole thing is
I'm
that,
just
you know,
keeping it
we
real,
talk
guys.
about- yeah, we talk about it all the time. And
I agree people should do it, but I think they have to be aware of the danger
under law,
associated with it.
under
absolutely,
certain things,
absolutely.
and underneath of this court hearing and the outcome of it, it states that ill patients under the charter are allowed to grow their own. So if you're a patient and you're using cannabis and you got a doctor, I say, you know what, go grab a B1, fill it out, send it in, photocopy it. You know, just cover your ass if you want to. But, you know, in reality, that would be a great way of doing it. We've talked about this over the last 4 years. Keep doing that. You know what? And basically, the way I read everything, and I'm not a lawyer, but I'm someone who's sound mind that believes that you're a patient, grow your own. You know what?
People need to remember, we started this because of cost. We started this because patients couldn't afford to grow. John and I can grow for 50 cents to $1.50 a gram. We started this because we knew, and believe me, I filed 3,000 victim impact statements personally to pick our 4 plaintiffs. And in those 3,000 victim impact statements, I remember many of them made me almost cry, because it was patients' God-given fear, not of losing their plants, but being forced back on pharmaceuticals because they couldn't afford the pricing of the LP scheme. Now, we can get to an open table and a free and fair market, because, my friends, as we usher in legalization, I guarantee you the right to grow has just been established by Mr. Conroy in Allard, and we will be able to grow in this country. The next question is, how do we get to the talking table so things like farmers markets and a free and fair market can truly evolve? You know, can truly evolve.
Like I said, as well, with these clubs that were very much a key role in getting patients access, is also be mentioned, and John mentioned at the end of the press conference and stuff. So that's going to be our next fight too, is really access for patients, because these clubs are the ones that have the bud tenders and the knowledge behind it. And are we going to have Shoppers Drug Mart pharmacists behind there knowing what exactly what they're doing?
Well, remember, I've been on this show saying Shoppers Drug Mart. So have you.
Yeah.
Shoppers Drug Mart. We told you guys it was coming to there. We told you. I call them Molson Cannabis for a reason. I mean, Molson Cannabis has been predicted for a long time, and
They've
they're
been
here, but you know
around
what?
for a
They're
while.
not going anywhere. The thing is, we need to understand now, some of those guys aren't that bad. You know, you want to boycott an independent or individual LP for whatever reason, that's fine. But don't boycott them all, because we need to realize legalization comes with talking. There needs to be a market, and we need to figure out where does that talking table go. Now we've kicked up dust. We've kicked up dust. We've won in the courts. Mr. Conroy shot that arrow across the bow because we've already had talks. The coalition has been in talks with our lawyers about how to move forward and protect dispensaries, frontline services for patient access centers. And that's what we're going to continue to do. And that's our next fight. And how that's going to evolve will come out through our media releases, through our lawyers in good time. But know this, we're continuing to fight. We are the Cannabis Rights Coalition.
Yeah. Yes. Good. And I love what John said at the end of the press conference about dispensaries being next.
Dispensaries are next. This was in the works, though, before the decision. Just understand. This was in the works about a month and a half, 2 months ago, talking with Mr. Conroy and Mr. Tusaw about how to approach this particular issue. We had other lawyers approach us. We didn't want those lawyers because we wouldn't get to court. There was no chance of an injunction. There's nothing you can do about what the city did to regulate other than the edibles issue. So there wasn't really much to do. But when it comes to it getting legalized, now with the right to grow, it's going to drop it down to the province. And now it's about lobbying the provincial government, hitting them at getting to the talking table, not waving your flags outside. We can't do nothing outside the door. We need to be at the table talking. Let's get our people to the table, know who they are, what your every group is. Raise your money, put your money where your mouth is, and walk your talk. And I got to thank Mr. Dana Larson, who's in the House, because he's one of our largest personal donors of $10,000 towards that coalition case. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to money out of pocket, he was the one dollar to dollar matched our group in a campaign and put his money where his mouth was.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And, man, the lawyers in this case, you got to hand it to these guys. Like, these guys just blew this case apart. Just thinking back to how they just destroyed these guys. Like,
we were
what
there
a fantastic
for every minute,
case.
right? So
Holy shit.
We were all in that courtroom, too.
Yeah.
We watched him shred him. That office,
They
fucked him
fucked him up,
every
man.
bit of it.
They really fucked him up. And, you know, and it was almost embarrassing to watch these guys. You know, because the guys like Len Garris and Holmquist fell to pieces.
to hear his news conference and being pressed the other day about mold again and stuff like that.
Again, I say right now, guys, here, Jeremiah, please promote this stuff. Right now, guys in Surrey, patients, family in Surrey, if you've had a license and that Surrey Fire Chief, Gracie, has messed with you, or that Officer Holquist was part of the friggin' warrant on your raid, or on any sort of implication, cutting down your plants, anything, check into it. There is a statute on this stuff. You can still sue him, because now his name is mud. Gracie and Holquist is mud.
Yeah.
They produce
or
no substance.
Len Garris.
Sorry, Len Garris.
Yeah.
My bad. Len Garris,
Garris.
thank you. I'm fucking
Yep.
high. I've been here for too long.
He's
what can I
this
say?
guy, Len Garris, is one of the
Tired of
worst
working for
guys
the
out there
MMPR right now,
on
aren't
this
they?
issue.
They are working for the
Totally
MMPR.
So they even got other
Total
jobs
liar.
right now, and they're
Straight up.
investigating.
Well, they
about-
probably got big stock portfolios in the MMPR too. That's why their testimony was bullshit. I don't care. I'll
Oh,
call it
man.
out. I don't
Well-
like to swear. I don't like to be. That sounds like the bad kind of thing. But you know what? It's true. How shameful was it? I'm one of the patients. 22 years with HIV. Johnny B here dealing with stuff like this. Who deserves the right to have to fight and claw for 4 years to grow a goddamn plant? And now all of Canada gets to do it. You know, because of what these medical patients have done, because of the rise up of the coalition, the restraining order, the injunction. That's what a restraining order is. It's just injunction is a fancy word. That's what we did to the government.
People in the beginning that, you know, if it wasn't forcing people, we had to beg people to actually get money raised for that, just to retain John.
Green Planet Nutrients. I got to tell you guys, Green Planet
Thank you.
Nutrients,
Yeah,
we were at $6,000. We needed $4,000 more, or Mr. Conroy was going to walk. And everybody talks about what they did for Allard, Go back to the beginning when Mr. Conroy was going to walk away from this case if we didn't reach that $10,000 mark.
3 months.
Green
Well,
Planet
it's-
Nutrients stepped up,
It's not even.
kicked in $4,000, and
Remember-
made that case happen.
It was interesting.
You know, it's
how
easy
they
to,
get started.
when we talk about the lawyers and stuff, remember how expensive it is to fight one of these cases for these lawyers. Like, in order to do this,
$250,000
there's a lot
I signed up
of
for, Jeremiah.
resources that are needed, right?
It's $250,000 I
That's
signed
why the
up for with
retainer
Mr.
was needed
Conroy.
within the first
10,000
3 months.
You have to make 10,000. Johnny's seen all this. He was in the meetings with me.
Yeah,
$10,000 we had to raise first in order to keep Mr. Conroy.
Yeah.
And then we had to get up to $100,000 for him to file the injunction. Everybody says, why was it filed on April 21st when there was only 10 days from the end? It was because Mr. Conroy was, quite frankly, not going to do it unless we had the money. And he's still underfunded. I'm
Yeah.
glad we're getting money back because they're
It's
going
not-
to base it on the Crown, what the
I
Crown
want
spent.
to impress on people that this
Interesting,
isn't
yeah.
John lining his pockets with a whole bunch of cash. It costs a lot of fucking money.
Well, he's underfunded.
Right.
The patient, he did this for the patients. He's
Right.
seen the
John
bills.
put in a
I
lot of
got
his
the
own
bills.
time.
John and I got the bills.
Yeah.
It's been paid by people making $50 donations, $100 donations from the disability checks. You growers out there, you talk a lot, walk it. Kick up your money and put it where your money where your mouth is, because really, you just protected your rights.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And
Like
now
I said, we
going
still know a lot of
forward,
people who
I
are
think people
donating
have a
from their checks.
responsibility.
A lot of people told me, hey, if you go to court, I'll kick up some money. Hey, you do this. Well, hey, guys, we just won the right. Now what? Kick up some money.
Yeah. I
There's more
think
fighting to do.
dispensaries
Jeremiah
are
is
next.
right.
Dispensaries are next. We got to do
They're
it.
also going to, Jeremiah,
Hey,
they're
what?
also going to come back with legislation. If they come back with legislation that says, okay, now you can only grow 25 or 50 plants, you don't think we're going to go and appeal that right away?
So
Oh, yeah.
what about the
We're
patients
not
that
appeal it, but
Yeah.
we're going to file another.
Fight it.
don't have
Yeah.
file
access?
another
Hell
case
yeah,
against the
man.
government.
And that's another thing that I keep
Good.
fighting for is cannabis coverage. And you know what? And that's a very important part of these fights too. I mean, a lot of people can't afford their cannabis. A lot of people are on low income, and
Provincial coverage.
and coverage has to be granted. I mean, we have a provincial healthcare system that's put into place, and these LPs, they're getting cheaper prices. But at the same time, if this gets into the way it should be covered. It should be covered for medical purposes, and that's just another whole platform. It's something that I fight for.
Well, now dispensaries, I mean, note this word, guys. Dispensaries, you will hear from our lawyers soon. Dispensaries are definitely on there. I call them patient providers. I don't care if they're extract crews, patient providers, delivery, mobile, whatever. If you're providing for a patient, you just happen to be a good grower. Like I said last year at 420 on the stage, who doesn't love their neighborhood grower? And it's going to stay that way.
Exactly.
Your great neighbors are sitting right beside me.
All our neighbors love our neighborhood
Right.
growers.
Cool. Well, really huge congratulations, man, on all your hard work paying off. This is really amazing. This is like one of the most pivotal things. This will go seriously down in history as one of the biggest deals. So
It made history.
yeah,
I
serious
had
history.
Johnny here and a bunch of friends at the house. Honestly, there were tears in our eyes. I mean, you're talking about guys I've never seen cry. I've known them for 15 years, and to watch them cry with joy because now freedom and liberty was upheld in the country of Canada, and the Constitution protected our rights once again. Hence the Cannabis Rights Coalition.
Phelan, what a guy, huh?
Hell of a guy. I
What
would love
a
to go smoke
guy.
one with Phelan.
No,
I'm
but you know
Phelan.
what?
I'm Phelan.
I
Phelan.
am so
But
impressed with
he
him.
saw the
Yeah.
eyes. I remember seeing him, looking him in the eyes when I was sitting in that room and stuff like that. And he
was
watched
being
him,
funny.
He paid attention, and believe me, that's a smart man that looked at patients' rights and then how a lot of people were affected.
Most honest judge I've ever seen. Me too.
He saw where patients needed that rights and stuff like that. They gave him that energy to move forward and stuff like that. And you know what? Once again, without being able to grow your own, 90% of them would go back to pharmaceutical drugs, and we know that. We've talked about it and stuff like that. And then for him to stand up and take a look at it and go, yeah, you know what? Yeah.
Have you ever heard, maybe you guys have, Jeremiah, have you ever heard of somebody actually winning their case and then getting the money back without being under appeal? Because that's what's happening now.
Well, you know what? They got up to 30 days,
know.
so we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
that's what's
right?
weird because, well, no, either way, the judge said that the money has to be given back to Mr. Conroy. A certain amount of the money has to be given back because
Yeah, no, it's the last
irreparable harm.
It's the last
What?
lines.
Wow.
The
It's
irreparable harm
irreparable
caused to the
harms.
patients.
Yeah.
Again, the bump and grinding that we had to do as a coalition to raise $300,000 to take on the federal government of Canada and secure the right to grow. That's what they're talking about.
What caused this whole thing? I mean, the beginning with lock boxes and going around and then starting accounts and the whole thing, and then you know what? It was an amazing. It was amazing how he pulled it all together. He started going. I mean, it started in BC, and then everybody started wanting to get more involved. And
I'm just
everybody
glad.
started
I'm just
to
glad it's
create.
over, man. Because I tell you now, everybody out there, the old Jason's back, and I'm going to be a lot more calmer and happier because I don't have to feel like I'm at war anymore. My war's over, and the dispensary war is just beginning. But I'm there to back up my friends and my brothers and sisters. We don't want anybody going to jail. But my fight to protect plants in my garden and my friends' gardens, that fight's over. And now let's just keep on moving it, and let's keep united because this culture cannot get pulled apart by anybody, provided that we stay united and affect our rights to liberty in all fashions, whether that be a protesting, whether that be a go ahead and file a suit, file human rights. No matter how we hit them from all sides, all angles, all ways. I love what Dana's coming up with, but again, we don't need to overgrow when the constitutional right was just established on Wednesday.
Plant a seed. Grow your own.
Plant the seeds. Plant them and grow them.
Well, thanks, Jay.
That's what it says. If you're ill patient.
Just
You
keeping it
beat
real,
Grand
man.
accents.
That's how we have to do it. Mark
Oh,
my
man.
words. Watch constitutional law play out, and you will see that I've always said this.
6
If we win,
months.
you are going to be allowed to grow in this country as a result of Allard. Not any flags, not any planting seeds. as a result of Allard. And thanks to Mr. Conroy, thanks to Neil Allard, Bleemish, Herbert, everybody, all our plaintiffs, all of our lawyers. I mean, all the coalition. There's 3,800 registered members of the coalition. That is an amazing feat. National. We're now a federal nonprofit organization that continues to fight for your rights on a host of things. And we're happy to say that. And there's also that $40 million lawsuit I filed. Remember, that's coming down too. Soon, 41,000 patients are going to get a payday. And Justice Phelan is the same judge on that privacy matter.
Really?
He right now he's just like, you know what? I'm just done. I'm retiring, and
yeah, he got put on the case. It was
He's
funny.
the pod judge
halfway through Allard, he got put on the privacy case, and when I heard about it, I was like, wow. Now that I've read this decision, I'm wondering, hey, I wonder if he's going to do restitution
So
that way.
explain the privacy case.
Privacy case, when they mailed the letters out to us, and it had the marijuana on the envelope, which is the issue of
This was Health Canada.
Health Canada sent out the letter, and of course, in that letter, that was the letter that told us to destroy our gardens and put our plants in kitty litter. But at the same time, they made the big blunder of running that through the local mail service and putting marijuana and exposing the privacy of 30 or 41,000 medical
They
patients.
put the name on the front
who
of it.
you were, and it said right on Health Canada Medical Marijuana
Right.
Access Division.
So
I still
They
have the
outed all
envelope.
all the home
I
growers.
should have brought it with me.
That breach of privacy was immediately filed. I had to file within 48 hours. The coalition filed this. I filed with Branch and McMaster. You can look it up on their website. We filed this case, and that case is next to come down. And that's going to deal another blow to Health Canada's ignorance to this whole scheme. Trying to monopolize marijuana through Health Canada was wrong. Trying to do what they did, ushering in legalization through JT's model of heavily tax, control, and restrict with LPs was wrong.
Restrict.
I'm glad the justice in this arm, the judicial arm, has stood up once again for what's right in liberty. And now it's up to the legislative arm to deal with that decision. And I'm so glad the language is that powerful that I believe that there's a high chance, I can't speak for the Crown, but I can't see why they would appeal other than to have us blast them and wasting taxpayers' dollars on a stupid appeal. Two other experts are
good
just
work
are
on
wrong.
everything, man. And wow, I'm excited about this next privacy thing too. I knew exactly what was going on with it, and it's crazy. It's a huge blunder. I think it's a fucking slam dunk.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really.
It's already been certified. Just wonder,
Yeah.
people, in a privacy matter, people understand it goes through certification. That means that the judge said it's here. The privacy commissioner said it's a gross violation of privacy. Now, what the Crown's trying to say is, but wait, we tried to call Jason Wilcox back up to the stand. He didn't answer 50% of the questions because my lawyer told me not to. You know. Then they said, oh, okay, now we're gonna appeal the certification. The judge doesn't know what he's talking about. The privacy commissioner doesn't know what he's talking about. Do you really think they're going to win this appeal? The government's throwing out taxpayers' dollars day after day after day, hitting them legally. Is where we're winning because the judicial arm keeps upholding the Constitution. And those that want to infringe on it, every time you fart sideways, we're there to friggin' smoke you out.
Wow.
That kind of didn't
Dope,
come out
brother.
right.
Yeah. Cool, man. I appreciate it.
The whole thing is every time the federal government is being taken to court on these matters, they've lost, and they will continue losing because it's patients' rights.
Yeah.
And,
No, it's a constitutional right.
And
Yep.
now with the
No, this
constitution,
shit is fucking set in stone, essentially. I mean, they could do anything really, ultimately, in the
Well,
future.
the whole
No,
thing
no,
is,
Jared, hold on.
they,
Just
they
to be-
have
hold
the
on, hold on.
legislation to put legislation into of what plant limit? What do you think?
It's all
is
about
gonna
They,
happen?
enforcement.
what I'm telling you
It's
now,
always
like,
about enforcement.
Jeremiah, constitutionally, right now, the judge cannot issue. Everybody's saying, "What's plant count?" Everything else. The judge can't legislate. That's the legislative arm's duty. It's judicial. So the legislative arm now, they have, no matter what, Justin Trudeau, that's what I'm telling you, Allard sets constitutional precedents. It's a Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Nothing is higher in this country, nothing held more dear, and JT cannot override this decision. Therefore, in his model, has to change from tax, heavily control, and restrict to include home gardening.
Yeah.
Thanks to Allard.
Yeah.
Hats off
It
to
better.
everybody who done this. And again, hats
Better.
off. Hey, this was a truly national collective effort. I love you all. And I'm probably going to go home and just spend some time with my family now and take a bit of a break. But really
Owes
love
these
you all,
guys
man.
a huge debt of gratitude.
Seriously, thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you, Jeremiah, for covering this for 4 years and
Yeah.
keeping us alive and keeping it real on your show. Not allowing any of the stuff to get faded and keeping it real and allowing me to be myself and battle
Hell
off
yeah,
people when I
man.
needed to. And
I
now I'm just
love
back
when you're
to being
yourself.
me.
Like, we had you on last week.
Actually, I got to apologize to Mr. Smith. That post, somebody resurfaced a 1-year-old post and dragged me into bad mind space, and that was actually not Mr. Smith's post. It was from a year earlier, and it was easy to get me to bite onto that. Of course, we were waiting on the decision. I was on pins and needles, so I apologize to Mr. Smith, and RV Smith is paid for according to Mr. Smith.
Oh, really?
So, yeah,
oh,
that's
wow,
what Anissa Warner
oh,
informed me.
Well,
so I feel a lot better, and I have to issue that apology to Ted, because now I feel like an asshole, because I went and jumped on him again because I thought he was stirring up old stuff, and really it was me just. Somebody got to me with that pump. So whoever did that, good on you, hater, but you know, you only got me last time. I apologize to you, Mr. Smith.
Oh, jeez.
It's awesome, dude.
Ted. Yeah, well, you know, Ted is such a good guy too, and
he really is.
Yeah.
I mean, his wife's very ill. I've known Ted for like 20 years. Him and I have had battles, but we're activists. Yeah. Activists act. Ted acts. We act.
Yep.
When you act, you're an activist. Yeah. You just don't talk. It's the talkers that I don't like. And sometimes us activists bump heads. That's what happened with me and Ted. We bumped heads. But over this issue of funding, again, we have two major cases. RV Smith changed this country in extracts. All cannabis in all of its forms from the Supreme Court of Canada is why this judge also probably looked at this very favorably in a strong language. You know, so we have to look at these two cases are setting what legalization is going to be in this country. Even extracts, you can thank Owen Smith and Ted Smith for those of you that are going to enjoy extracts in this country in the legalization model. Because they're the ones that made it constitutionally sound. Not waving flags, no LPs, no legislative arm was making any extracts sound. No. There were no extracts under the MMPR.
Imagine
now the
leaving
MMPR is dead.
Jeez.
It's been crushed. Not just a section of it, dead. It's
you can't leave it up to the politicians because they never fucking do it. And we've seen time and again, it's always the courts that do this. Pretty much across the board, every win that we've had has been the courts. Yeah. It hasn't been legislated even once. Nothing.
And this is a problem. Now the legislative arm, we win in court, we send it to the legislative arm, then the legislative arm writes something really stupid, and they send it back, and they say, well, now it's constitutionally sound. Then we have to argue again. We have to raise another $250,000. And like I said, in 2012, my friends, let's not let our guard down. This is a huge victory, but like Jeremiah said, there's a lot more work to do. We need to stay together and keep it real and stay fundraising. No matter what your group is, what your respective organization is, do what you need to do. But just understand that there's people in this country that are in this for profit seeking right now. I noticed the name Cannabis in Canada is getting real popular for people to take and use. That's fabulous. You know, I'm really happy about that name going out there. But at the same time, I've distanced myself from that name. So it's something that I can just say right now. I'm going to go public with that part.
I didn't know that you were working with Cannabis in Canada.
I am Cannabis in Canada.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
And so
what? It's not that I work with it. I am Cannabis in Canada.
That was part of.
But there is a website called Cannabis in Canada. There's a website called Cannabis Canada in the control of Jade Maple that I don't control. But my YouTube channel, if you check that out, is my YouTube channel. Now, if I had control of it, you wouldn't find satire on it or any other bullshit about other activists, etc. I don't have control over that. That's what I mean by I've distanced myself from the people I was working with, because I can't continue with that. You know, they want to go that route, that's their choice. But for me, if you look at my YouTube channel, it's Jason Wilcox 2016 for right now, till I figure out what comes next. But I keep my moral high ground at all times. I don't care. I turned down a $100,000 check to work for an LP to finish Allard. I'm sure as hell not going to sell myself out now for much, much less.
All right, brother. Well,
on that note, I love y'all, and I'm gonna get home to my family, man. All right.
Love you, brother. Yeah, sorry for keeping you so long. We had to get to the.
This is important. You know, we had to talk about this whole fight. It changed history. I remember in the very beginning. And talking, you know, with CTV and stuff like that, and everything that was going on, and you know what? It's been a fucking great ride, man. I mean,
You were there from the start, brother.
Seriously, you were talking about this because I'm live on the air. I thought maybe
I had tears in my eyes,
but
I've had tears in my eyes for the last couple of days because
I'm super busy.
I mean,
okay, yes, for sure.
We know what it went through. We know exactly what it took to do this, and we saw people with nothing stand behind it. And it's amazing all the events, those fundraisers. You got to really think of who was there and look what was around there.
Oh, Justin Loizo, back east, Dan Pagnuti, you guys, Carl Braun. I mean, I can go on forever. You guys are amazing. All the West Coast activists who have come together, from Ramos, Sandra, freaking Johnny B, Jeremiah, all the people who have come out to all our events, Dana, everybody's been there. Every activist I can think of has touched this coalition at one point or another, hence the word coalition. May not be full-fledged members, whatever, who cares? They helped us. That's what matters. This was a collective effort. If we could do this again, we could stop and form a true, free and fair legalization market in Canada that we all will be happy with. I'm just happy that plants are now going to be part of that. And that's already been established.
It's going to happen.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jay.
Peace, brother.
Jason Wilcox. Yeah, pretty amazing work. Thanks, Jay. Oh, now we can spread out a little bit, can we here, Johnny?
Oh, yeah. We might even get someone else in the seat
how
here.
How far
we
are we in
know.
now? What time is it? 5:30?
5:30. You know what?
Gotta
Yeah,
get a bit of a
it's
stretch. Oh, man.
it's been definitely an amazing week.
It has.
And,
Here, slide over a little bit more just to balance this out. You know, get in front of a line there, Johnny.
I got the pinch.
You got the pinch. Oh, don't hurt yourself, Johnny. Don't pinch too
No,
hard.
I wouldn't feel that.
So, now I have some videos and stuff I want to play out. There's a lot more I wanted to talk about. I was going to have Jodie Emery on the show. I don't know where she is at the moment. She's probably in the building somewhere. She was here not too long ago. Oh, Jodie's sitting in the office. We can bring Jodie on soon here. I wanted to play a video first, though, and I have some of them lined up here.
Well, you know, there was so much coverage with this win. It was.
Oh, the first thing I wanted the first video I want to show is just a couple minutes, and it stars one of the most handsome first protagonist that I've seen in a news piece for a long time. This is such a dashing interview here, and it's pretty remarkable. This is gonna blow shit off the hinges.
Well, you know what? Yeah, no, this is what me and Jason talked about.
This is really awesome.
I did empowering health stories with some. Well,
speaking about Johnny B, of course, Johnny B was interviewed by the Vancouver Sun, and they made a really wicked video, and it's pretty dope. We're gonna watch it right now. What's that?
There you go.
Oh, Jodie, after I play a couple videos though first, and then I just was wondering where she was. Now, Alyssa, do we have video volume? I just want to make sure we're good. Yeah. Plugging us back into 5. This should do the trick. And this should also do the trick. What do you think? Is it working? Okay, we're going to give it a try here. Oh, I don't hear it. Oh, here. Oh, because the volume's down. Here we go. And there you'll hear a familiar voice.
I'm a legal medical cannabis
Go.
grower, and I'm here today because of our constitutional challenge against the federal government in order to attain access for me to be able to continue to grow my medicine was won today. In the beginning, when I started doing this, I was scared to lose my license and my right to be able to continue to self-medicate. Today was a win, not just for patients, but for Canadians and for everybody to look at how cannabis is a medicine, how the federal government has recognized, well, not the federal government, how the judge has recognized how patients need access and granted access for their right to be able to medicate and use cannabis as a medication. Right now, the federal government's got to put in a legislation in order for patients, as in cannabis for medical, and of course with the legal and the recreational model that's upon us right now. I think the government's got a lot to look at and a different legislation on how they're going to rewrite this whole thing over the next 6 months.
Yeah, Johnny. That was dope.
Well, you know what? It was quite a day. Jason, I was sitting with Jason and the Global Mail guy. He was there, and he recognized me from some past stuff, and of course led to, you want to get into my garden? And then I got another call from the Vancouver Sun, and then there were some other phone calls, and I went right home after the court case, and we spent about 4 hours. Mike and Hetty drove me home, and they were waiting for us when we got there, and we went and we had lots of good talks, and right from the beginning when they said we had to destroy with cat litter to how the whole thing came together, and you know what, I'm still growing and I'm able to continue growing my medicine, and I'm a small home gardener that really just enjoys, it gets me out of bed in the morning. It's something that I really look forward to. It's because
do you enjoy candy?
My life. I love candy too, by the way.
Enjoy some of those.
So you know what, it was really good to see.
J-Mac wants candy too. Here, J-Mac. This is a left-hand throw. Oh, it hit the coffee cup. Sorry, man.
Pretty much, Vancouver Sun. There's a thing, whole article in the Vancouver Sun about the whole Allard.
The whole shebang.
Also, the Globe and Mail. I haven't had a copy of that yet.
I wanted to clip that video and play it on the show because it featured Johnny as the subject.
Jodie, she was out back east at the same time talking
That's
about the legalization.
And it's funny
At
how
the
even
Senate
at the
Liberal-
same day we
Liberal
had
Senate
the
Forum.
release of Shoppers Drug Mart getting into the game of
Yeah.
dispensing cannabis.
And apparently London Drugs as well, we heard about.
So we have all these big corporate entities. We have the whole platform being able to continue to grow.
Maybe they want to sponsor 420.
Legalization on the platform. You know what? Well, you know what? We're getting a lot of big public entities who want to sponsor it because in reality, getting their name and branding their name for a legalization platform. And these 420s, they look at it as more of a legalization platform. So, I mean, we've had a war. We've had some big companies in the past do some pretty big sponsorings in the last couple of years, and you see that now, right? So.
Yep. Now, I want to play another video now since you mentioned Jodie going to the Senate Forum. Jodie went out to Ottawa, and there's a video here from CTV about this. I believe it's CTV.
Yeah.
And Alyssa, do we have yet? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and play this one and check this out. This is just a couple minutes long as well. And then we're going to bring Jodie on the show. So.
Awesome.
We'll be
The
back
Trudeau
with Jodie Emery
government
after
took
this.
the first steps today towards legalizing marijuana, today bringing experts to Parliament to speak on the issue. CTV's Joanne Schnurr joins us live. Joanne, this may take longer than many people were hoping.
Well, that's right. Legalizing marijuana was one of the Trudeau government's key election promises, but it's a complicated issue. And as we heard today, until there's a new law, the current laws will have to be enforced and obeyed. Cynthia Gosson traveled with her son from Toronto to take in this Liberal caucus meeting on legalizing marijuana. After decades of debate in Canada, the issue appears to be moving forward.
I think we're in the process and we've got to go forward with this. I'm not sure how long it will take because I do feel Canada has a role to do it properly.
That was the resounding sentiment around this table.
I believe we have a responsibility here to do this right.
Liberal MP and former Toronto Police Chief Bill Blair has been given the lead role on this file for the Trudeau government.
And I know there are many who are saying, oh, let's hurry up and get on with it. Well, we're getting on with it, but it is a very complex issue.
Issues around organized crime, jurisdiction, and health concerns, particularly for young people.
We talked about today what are some of the impacts. Increased risk of collision. Unfortunately, a lot of people are using marijuana in combination with alcohol, and that just further increases the risk.
Then there's the question about those still getting busted for pot possession.
British Columbia spends $10 million a year on pot possession cases, and I'm sure across the country the numbers are just as high. That's money that should be spent on health care, not on arresting peaceful Canadians who are criminals today but are going to be encouraged to buy pot legally in a year from now.
The chiefs of police admit the dialogue has been confusing for them too.
I think it would be helpful if the government would release some sort of an action plan with the steps that they're going to go through that would provide some possible timelines so that the expectations can start to be lessened a little bit.
Until that happens, though, police will continue to enforce the current law, and people are expected to obey it. So when will marijuana become legal? Well, Bill Blair said the process will take as long as it takes, but that the Trudeau government is committed to seeing it happen. Graham.
Okay, CTV's Joanne Schnurr reporting live. Thanks, Joanne.
Thanks, Joanne. Thanks, Joanne.
You know what? There's lots on the plate with the government. You know what? With the winning of the court case, with patient rights, with legalization of Trudeau's promise, with the United Nations meeting.
Oh, yeah. Did you see Kofi Annan's big thing talking about legalizing and all that?
There's a lot of...
It's pretty cool. Jodie Emery. Yeah, come around this side so you can get the third chair, the pretty chair. Yeah. Here, I'll slide over a little bit more. That's okay. Ah, yeah. Shh, you can't come on the show without getting high. Thanks to Cannawide.
Today's my first day seeing Johnny B since his surgery, because I've not been here for different reasons in this room at this time. So yay!
Wow.
It's awesome and inspiring, because yeah, it is.
Jodie, good to have you on the show.
Look, I'm just a floating head.
Just a float you are, because you're wearing black. Yeah. Every once in a while, a green glob comes behind you, and then you have this form. But then
Right, I'm wearing all black. In fact, I brought out a red shirt for Ottawa. That's as colorful as I've been. I did bring a gray dress, actually, and then at the last minute I thought, nah.
Somebody told me that you wore a red dress or red
shirt.
Yeah. Well, liberal
power.
red.
Liberal
why
red,
not?
power red.
There you go.
Matches lipstick, it's all
And so we just watched this Trudeau government begins dialogue on legalizing pot little clip that had, a couple video footage of you guys actually in the Senate forum. Tell us about what that was. What was it like there? Bill Blair was just chilling out?
Yeah, they were all just smoking chongers.
Yeah, everyone was puffing.
I saw the smoke. Yeah, here I was we can have the trade microphone.
Oh, should we? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Good for me. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Off. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, gosh, I'm a little out of it. It was awesome.
Just
Okay,
got
so
back.
Ottawa, yeah, we went there. Brittany Ann came with me. She flew in, so we had dinner the night before.
Yeah, Brittany.
And then woke up nice and early. I thought it started at 8:30 a.m., but it actually started at 9:30 a.m., so we had an hour to kill. So we went and sat at a coffee shop. And
It's always good to be early.
I know, I like being early. It is always better. Because I also got a front row seat. You know, I'm a keener, like, front row center.
Jodie
so
the
I went
nerd.
straight in. Yeah, I sat right
Sits
there.
at the front.
Yeah, I printed out the
Polish your
Senate
apple.
report. I had all of it. I had the Senate report. I had books in it. I didn't get a chance to give anything out, but yeah. So they asked if people would write down a question if they wanted to have a chance, and they opened up the forum. It was basically like 12, 15 people, no, maybe even 20 people, 5 panelists, and a lot of senators, and they opened up with Bill Blair, who's in charge of legalization. He spoke very eloquently. In fact, as he spoke, I thought, I don't have anything to say anymore. He took the words out of my mouth. I was going to try and focus on how prohibition has hurt youth and the poor and minorities and First Nations, and that it, like, but he said a whole bunch of things. He brought up even a statistic I don't cite, that 22,000 people. 22,000 people have been arrested last year for pot. And so Bill Blair was saying a lot of good stuff. And before the forum even began, I don't know, I guess some people recognize me, so they come up and say hi, and they shake my hand, and then a reporter pulls out a mic, and then suddenly, boom, all these cameras come. So got talking, and then Bill Blair came up to me afterwards, and he did say something along the lines of, I can't remember exactly, but he said, you know, I said, I'm Jodie Emery. He goes, I know who you are. Thank you. And he says, I'm glad that you're here. I respect the work that you've done, and it would be nice to be able to talk with you on this issue outside of this setting. So I hope we can speak further in the future as we move forward. And I said, absolutely. And there's a picture of me with a big shit-eating grin. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, really? You're not running away from me. Wow.
That's
so
great.
That was
Wow.
cool.
Jeez.
That's exactly
That
what we're
was pretty
talking
cool.
about. The roots and the suits.
Yeah, the roots and the suits.
Right?
That's what the province
He's
said,
like-
posted that picture of me and him, and they said, an unlikely pairing. And I was like, actually, I've met John McKay, Mark's prosecutor, and Cash Heed. I'm kind of the person who goes and meets these guys. But so anyway, it was great. We got to speak to the media, and then when the event started, they spoke very eloquently. Eugene Oscapella was amazing. He is
good.
Drug policy expert, so he spoke
I knew
very
he would
eloquently.
provide some balance to the whole thing.
It was thankfully some good balance.
And you got to actually say something.
Yeah, I was surprised. I really
Yeah.
didn't think I'd get a chance because they opened up and said only 2 people typically from the public that attend. There was about 40 seats for the public. They said usually only 2 questions are allowed because that's how much time they have. But in fact, they let like 8 people talk. Like it was, I thought almost everybody who wanted to ask a question got asked. In fact,
Cool.
Brittany Ann, she got to ask a question about
Great.
dispensaries. Judith Renaud got asked about, I mean, most people were stunned they were being asked. They're like, oh my, what, really? And they go up to the mic and they're like, holy.
That's
holy
great.
shit.
They
So
weren't
that was
expecting,
exciting.
that's
I wasn't
good.
expecting it either. That's why I was like, oh,
We're looking at a
boy.
different government too, right? We're looking at a government that wants to move forward with the whole new industry. So, I mean, it's interesting in their approach, and it's good to see that.
And that there was a senator, Senator Monroe, never heard of him before, older gentleman. He brought up himself before I even spoke. He said, Bill Blair, what are we going to do about thousands of Canadians who are unable to get work because of criminal records? What are we going to do about giving amnesty to all of those who are charged? And I'm sitting there going, holy smokes, they're all
These are all
saying
my
my
questions.
talking points. What am I going to do? So thankfully when I got up, I said, I'm a marijuana activist. Because I want to remind them that there's activism. And I said that, you know, that we're only talking about legalization today because of the brave patients and growers and dispensaries and activists who broke the law and challenged it and went to court and changed the law. We need to make sure that those who built the industry are allowed to be included in it. We need to make sure, I said a few things about a moratorium on marijuana arrests, how money is being spent that should go to healthcare. I tried to say as much as I could, and it felt like just a rambling thing. And then I rounded it up with my question saying, will you issue a moratorium on marijuana arrests or offer amnesty? And as you can see from I retweeted a reporter, there was media there, and they were tweeting, it's crickets. Nobody said a thing. Nobody answered my question. So I just went, okay, sat down, because Bill Blair had already said they're going to continue enforcing the law. So thankfully, that's where we got some good friction, I guess, because you need some sort of, like any book
drama.
or movie, you need some drama, you need some plot twists. And plot twist is Bill Blair saying it's wrong, all these Canadians are arrested, but we're going to keep doing it, and we won't tell you when we'll stop. Yeah. So they said they don't even have a timeline. So
but
that's
how does
where
it even make sense?
So, but are the rest of that, is that on the recreational, on the medical, and I'm curious on where this whole arrest point is being. I mean, are they going to keep going after patients? Or are they going after the guy that's... I saw a guy recently the other day. He was on the side of the road. He was a construction crew. He was smoking joint. The cop was harassing him. He had a sticker book out. Like, he was bugging him for smoking.
It's still going on.
It's still happening.
Every 9 minutes.
And I was like, wow, I can't believe I just saw this in Vancouver.
It's
and I saw it happening, and I was like, I wanted to, scream out the window. I'm like, okay, I got this necklace on. Do I really want to do this?
But you want to point out the hypocrisy and the unfairness of it.
Yeah, no, I saw it, and I was just like, wait. Like, I just felt that. I was like, I can't believe it. So we're still seeing that. So we still have to fight for that, and it's important that there's a lot to go. Still.
That's what a lot of the questions were about. The media just saying, why should they issue a moratorium? Why not just wait till it's legal? And that allows us to explain that 2 million Canadians since 1965 have received a criminal record, and people lose their jobs and their kids and their home, and they're being punished in society. I didn't even get to go into how we're being deprived of people's brilliance and their contributions because of criminal charges. I mean, there's that one story I always tell about this police chief's daughter who goes to church and wanted to volunteer in America to feed the homeless, but got stopped at the border because at one time in the past a cop had come across her and her friends in a park and asked them if they were smoking pot and suspected that they were, but there was no pot, so there was no charge, but the name was written down, and now this church girl can't feed the homeless because of pot laws. That is
brutal.
Wrong, weird, crazy. So just imagine all the
so
people who we don't even hear about. Imagine all the people who can't work, who can't contribute, who can't share their ideas.
Now is a guy on Victoria on the island. Had something like 34 plants, and he's being charged, and he's pled guilty, and he's getting a mandatory. They might even give him 6 months right now.
Well, see, this is wrong.
That just can't happen because it's just like...
No, legalization...
It doesn't need to be happening anymore because we know that it's going to change, so it's just ridiculous.
It was yesterday or very early in the morning, and he admitted to selling an ounce or so to a couple of his friends, and that's where they nailed him on, and they're like...
And they're saying it is still illegal because it is, like, that was reiterated over and over again. The cops are being told you can keep... Well...
Why would Justin Trudeau not just be like, okay, done?
Because they say they don't want confusion, but I'm sorry, we've had decades of confusion.
That would end the confusion.
Yeah, I know. It's nonsense. So it was a great trip. There were a lot of activists there. A lot of great people got to speak. I was really impressed with how they were listening to people, and yeah, I'm very grateful I got to talk.
So when are you going to meet with Bill Blair in private?
I don't know. I'm supposed to have a Hetty Fry meeting this upcoming month, right? Yeah, he's messaging me right now. Hey,
Bill.
buddy, how's it going?
Hey, I'm watching you on Pod TV right now. I told you not to mention my name, okay? So the deal's off. No.
Yeah. So, I just thanked
he always
Tom.
watches the
Jodie,
show.
but you've been very active and fighting for people's rights and for
They should make
because
you
of
the
our
marijuana
going to
czar.
jail and stuff like that. So you stood up strong, and of course him being police chief has been following you probably extensively the whole
I
time.
tweet at him. I've been tweeting him a lot.
So there you go. So he knows exactly
Politely.
what's going on. But at the same time, they know exactly what we are in this industry because we're not doing that. We love what we do. It's not. It's about this plan, and there's a passion behind it, and they have to.
These are peaceful, harmless people who are seeking benefit, and bringing up how it can save people from alcoholism and drug addiction and prescription pill abuse, and how there's so many benefits to this. Like, I'm a fanatic about pot. I really am, and I wish you could share all that.
Works.
And so we still have to keep reaching out. Some people say, why do you trust them? Like, I can't believe you'd actually talk to Bill Blair. And I'm saying, well, what's the alternative? Sit back and say nothing to them?
Yeah.
Sit back and not engage with the only people who can change things? Those are the gates.
That's how
They
you
have the
convince
key.
them. Yeah.
They got the key. You got to convince them to, unlock us, free us, man. So it's not always
Anybody
going
who
to be
says
easy.
that stuff
we got to sit at the tables. We got to start talking
thinking
and
on the
hammering
next
out
level.
this legislation and working with the governments and the municipalities and the provinces because really, that's what we're going to start seeing. Hopefully, with all of these local dispensaries, like in Vancouver, the license is going on
The
here.
the dispensaries have to be allowed. We have to have an inclusive market. I'm going to use that term Malmo always uses because it's true. We have to allow that.
And we're going to start seeing them pop up, I guarantee, over the next 30 days. They're going to pop up in every community right across Canada.
Now that gardens are allowed and everything, the
confusion.
confusion.
You're going to see it in all of your local. It's just going to start springing up, and a lot of people are going to take the fines and get shut down. They're going to just keep pushing forward, and there'll be the next and the next, and that's just how it normally. That's how it works.
When I really think about it, it's going to be just a weed overload. I think. Look at everybody wants a piece. The liquor stores want a piece. The Shoppers Drug Mart wants a piece. It's like, man.
It's a strange time. There's so much excitement. There's a lot of happiness, but there's also a lot of stress. And it's even if it's kind of underlying stress, we're all thrilled, but everyone's wondering, where the fuck do I fit in?
They're going to put in a legislation to allow us to grow. We got no idea what that's going to be. They're going to give us a grow box and 10 plants and say, you know what, we still don't know. So this legislation, hopefully it's going to be fair for patients. I look at the mandatory sentencing for 6 plants or more. I like Dana's 5 seed limit there and what's going on. So our patients can be able to get more plants due to their... Are we going to see a legal platform where everybody grows?
There's a lot of questions and details.
So many questions. They got 6 months to come up with these details. So really it might be a win at the same time. It's like... Oh shit! I guess I'm still 6 months. I'm still like, you know what? That's what I talked about with the reporters, and then I'll probably come out in 6 months because I've already done the reporting on it. So in 6 months, what's going to happen over the next 6 months? I got to plan everything for 6 months because in 6 months they're going to tell me, oh, you can have 24 plants.
Well, yeah,
and
you have no idea what you're
you
going
can
to
have a 4x4 square area. This is what your condition. We state this. You know what? Like,
are there going to be
how
inspections?
Are they going to
what are they going to do?
Oh,
inspections. They're going to have to come back with something.
Inspections. Well, then that's going to be funded by what, yourself or taxpayers? Am I going to get my coverage? That's why I'm fighting for coverage, right? So, are we going to have coverage? Are they going to pay for our hydro? These gardens. There's a lot.
A lot of unanswered, and there's going to be so much more confusion because even 420. You know, April 20 is when the United Nations talks about major changes around the world. Canada's going to have to explain what they're going to do.
2016 is the year we're going to have legal and I think this is the year that this is the year we're going to have like almost like legal 420. Yeah. Like it's not like
almost legal.
It's almost legal. It's like we're almost legal.
The last year of illegality.
Yeah, the last year of the legalities with everything that's meeting what's happening in this whole country and stuff like that. 2016 is, and it's just like the way more you look at it, you're smiling. It is. It's
it is exciting. It's wonderful because it's what we want in our hearts, like beyond our jobs and everything. It's just this is right. Cannabis is the healing of the nations. I want hemp houses. I want hemp ethanol. I want to consume cannabis juice. I want my own pot garden. I want so much. So we still have a lot of fight left ahead. This is not the time to sit back, you know.
Oh no, not at all.
There's never a time to sit back, really, I guess, because after we're long gone, the prohibitionists are still going to be out there. I mean, another interview I did yesterday was on BC One, and it was started off with Len Garris,
6 minutes.
police fire chief guy, whatever. He's talking about we haven't heard this nonsense stuff for so long. It's years since I've debated anybody about grow-op mold and fires.
Brought that up.
I'm like, wait, am I in 2009?
Like, the judge.
Where am I?
Len Garris has been ruled in the court of law to be a complete idiot.
Yeah, that exact decision said he could not be trusted.
And there's no proof some of that stuff. Yeah, he didn't
the judge shredded him.
Yeah, so he's a little upset. So now he's on the news, making a big fuss. The mold, the fires, and then sitting there going, kitchen fires.
Well, now they're saying all houses, they have to be inspected before that. You know what? When I was looking at houses and stuff, they all have to disclose if there was, because I looked at houses that had grow-ups in them. They had a little thing, there was a grow-up here, and you're like...
All that stuff already exists, yeah.
It exists. We live in BC. It's like...
No, the dangers that they claimed were associated with marijuana were proven to be false. There's no danger associated with growing in any more. No fire danger, no mold danger. All of this stuff was ruled out, so... Now,
so we have a lot of gardens popping up. I'm sure it's springtime.
Well, that's it is. It's time to plant some seeds. Grow
Vancouver Seed Bank and Crop King Seeds. 2 excellent places for all your needs.
Nice. No.
I'm a rapper.
You're a rapper.
I know.
Look behind you now.
The King, Crop King. Well, actually, it looked like Johnny B had a crown on. Go back there.
Johnny B's the king.
Look at it.
Yeah, it does. Johnny B's the crop king now. You should dress up as crop king for not Halloween, for 420.
Excellent.
There you go.
No, I was gonna do.
You just need the
I
beard.
No, actually, I was gonna do the King of Holland, but I'm not growing the hair back. It's just so much easier.
You don't want your long golden waves?
No, done. Maybe in the winter time.
Too much maintenance,
It's
right?
cold.
Yeah, long Fabio hair.
It is maintenance.
I got this whole big thing on the back here, and because
How long are you wearing the neck brace for?
March 7th, we go in and have X-rays to see how it's setting and determine if it's allowed to start coming off. If it does, it'll go into a
You're
soft
gonna miss
collar,
it when it's gone.
and then it just goes into exercise, and I do my exercises every day.
Cannabis helps build bones and
Well, how
cells,
about,
so
how
you know,
about
it might
this?
be fast
9 days
healing.
later, I went and saw my family doctor. The sterile strip came off. She goes, "Oh my God!" I watched. She goes, "Well, it's like healed. That's amazing." I says, "Well, I'm actually using this cannabis cream here and stuff like that." She goes, "Yeah, just keep using it." They know what I use,
They
right?
know,
And-
it's just not
and,
approved
and it was
yet.
right away, like the day when I got home. She came up with some LHO cream, so transdermal cream to get deep in there, and I put on each side. When it came off, I used the MJM creams on my shoulders and stuff like that because I had the tension, and really it's just that was some of the key parts is being able to use those oils and get cannabis deep into those tissues to allow the healing to start, and that's.
It's exciting. I'm excited
Right.
because everything is going to change. We're seeing a huge change in weird, exciting ways, like bad ways like Trump, but good ways like pot, you know, and that the whole medical
getting
system,
weird.
everything is being thrown up in the air. I mean, you've got so many people addicted to pharmaceutical pills and painkillers, and it's a real crisis in this country, and everybody's acknowledging that, you know, commercials for medications are nothing but bad news. It's just an endless list of horrible things that can happen to you. Doctors are
Marijuana's-
prescribing medicines incorrectly. People die in hospitals.
And
The
it's
medical
it's-
system's broken, and cannabis is going to change that. Cannabis is going to show that personalized health care that's preventative and restorative is far better than attacking symptoms with pills that aren't helping people. So we're going to have people, you know, all plant medicines. They're looking into ayahuasca and mushrooms and MDMA. There's DMT. They're looking
Plant
at all of
They're
these
looking
substances.
at all of these substances at the
As
world.
therapeutic medical use.
It's not just this whole UN drug policy thing. It's not just looking at one drug. It's looking at
Coca
all
leaf,
drugs.
all of it.
Everything they're looking at because it's the war on drugs has been a war on people.
Yeah.
And they're recognizing that.
Yeah.
And that's really
A war on
scary
this
that-
planet,
And
on
that's all they've been doing
plants.
is fighting people and putting them in jail, and people will be ripped apart. Free DeLisi is a friend, Rick, and you know
Yeah,
I throw
he's
him
in
out
jail.
there. He's been in
Florida,
jail,
right?
and he's in jail in Florida, and it's just ridiculous and how he's had his
Seed
dad
company.
torn from him and stuff like that. For simple pot possession.
Yeah.
I mean, it might have been a lot of pot, but I mean, it's
But
simple
it's not
pot
harmful.
possession. It's not harmful. So
No
I mean,
harm,
we're
no
still
victim, no
seeing this, and
crime.
we're seeing this. You know,
Nobody
people
should
are being arrested, and you know what? Well, we're seeing change. So that's all we can say. 2016.
Yep.
Hey, we're not back in the old days when we were having debates and every mention of pot was met with nothing but ridicule. Like, remember how you were
I
not
used to get
taken
treated
seriously?
like a criminal when
Yeah,
I first
you're
got
treated
my
like
license.
a scumbag.
They're like, "What are you doing? You can't." When the cops will show up, like, "Well,
You druggie, you junkie. That's what
I
they say
loved
shit
it
like
at
that.
Metro Town. They're like, "No, we're calling the cops." I'd go ahead and sit in my truck with a bong. And they show up, I show them my license, and we had a little argument about public property and private property. So I walked out to the corner of the street in the intersection with my bong, grabbed it, and Lynn, the cop, just shook his head. And the security guard at Metro Town just shook his head too. I'm like, this is where I'm legal. And you know what? And that was just one of those things. And it was nice to be able to have that license, but now it's nice to be able to see that legalization is coming upon us, and it's the right for everybody able to have it, and that's important.
Exactly, and I speak, even though I'm not a patient, well, maybe I am. Who knows?
You're a
I might
patient.
have an illness that I don't know, and I'm preventing it or
Well,
treating
it's
it.
preventative
Exactly.
medicine.
It's
Yeah.
preventative
It is a
medicine.
preventative
We
medicine.
have to
It's
speak
something
on behalf of all people who
I
can
mean,
use it.
you don't. People who don't use cannabis, I see the ones now that they have never used it, now using it and realize how beneficial it was for them. And they're like, really, I truly needed this. And other friends that never tried it their whole lives and they're in their mid-40s, and like they're now like, I need just a little bit, just so I can get up, just so I can get forward, so I can do things.
And there's people who even discover who used it recreationally. I mean, I met a young man in Ottawa. I have to give a shout out. There's an Ottawa medical center, a cannabis dispensary, OMD, I think I'll look it up. It's on my Instagram probably. But they're the first Ottawa dispensary. And I also got to visit a head shop called the Cannabis Emporium. And there was a young man who told me how he's been using pot all his life, but he only realized it was medicinal when he stopped using it and he was in pain. And he's like, I didn't realize that I was in pain because I wasn't in pain when I was using cannabis. And
oh no! Now I don't want to stop because I don't want to know what I have.
No, it's not to say like, you're going to hurt if you stop, but it's just realizing how beneficial it is. Yeah. And but for some people, they just don't want to use it, and that's fine too.
This is a really good example, and I talked about it because I talked about 11 years, and I use cannabis recreational and my whole life, and then I got hurt in 2005, and then I chased those decarboxylated brownies, those ones that worked, that cannabis that worked for my pain, and that was just the main focus, is how it helped me so much. And then after the surgery, it changed again, and I started realizing how much cannabis helped me for my pain. And then you start seeing it, because now, like I said, I didn't do a bong toke day till about 11, 12 o'clock. I used to get up in the morning and be like, I'd get out of bed and go right to it because I needed it.
Now
so
you
then,
don't necessarily.
and then that was the same thing when I felt I needed this particular type of cannabis for medicine to alleviate things. And then as I get older, I'm like, oh shit, I smoked weed my whole life because I was like, I got all kinds of other problems. But,
but no,
it's been preventative the whole time, right? So it makes me feel good. It
well, recreation is healthy activity, as David Mamalevino says. Recreation means healthy activity.
Recreational is medicinal.
So it is, if it's good for you. It's like eating a nutritious diet, or like walking a lot instead of driving or taking transportation.
Food for your brain, man.
Yeah, like is eating oranges medicinal? I don't think so, but it sure makes you feel healthier, and it's good for you. So this is just, again, they're going to start...
Are they recreational
too much sugar,
oranges or
maybe.
medicinal oranges?
Actually, you know what? That'd be good when they start growing.
Silly
yeah, but look at their vitamin C level.
Trees.
We need to regulate those oranges.
But they tried making vitamin C a prescription drug at one point there years ago.
Well, there's still Codex
because it's so good for
or
you.
what is that, There's still a lot of big power players that want to prevent people from accessing this. I mean, yeah, we got struggles.
Yeah,
that's all
we
right.
got struggles.
But who hasn't? And it's better than
and
it's
that's
ever
why
been
we
before.
should probably take a dab of something. What do you think, Johnny?
That one, that looks like
I was only yelling
shattered.
at you when you were blowing the torch because we couldn't hear Charlo. But
that looks like the description of shatter. It looks like something broken, shattered into pieces.
I dropped it on the table and it shattered.
Did you? Well,
no,
I'd probably smoke that.
What is that?
That would be some extraction made with, actually it's a propane extraction.
Propane.
So it's a different type
and
of
propane accessories?
Well, I don't know the whole thing behind it. It turns out to be, it's extremely
reference.
tasty, or some kind of weird extraction that no one's doing, that's done on some kind of lab that some guy's trying. It's really tasty, actually.
Well, I'm going to have to check it out, but you're making me think, for some reason it was completely unrelated. There's a young man in Ottawa named Cody, and he rolls joints into characters and things, and this is me.
Cool. What? There's a Jodie joint.
There's a Jodie joint.
That's
this is a
dope.
I wonder if I can get up there and show you guys.
Yeah.
Cody's pretty cool.
We have 179 people watching at the moment.
That's me as a joint.
Jodie joint.
Smile, the bangs, and all that. Okay.
That's very cool.
But he also has some other very cool things, like a 3-headed dragon with shatter as the eyes, like this dabbing eyes. So if you go to just go to Jodie Emery on Instagram. I tagged him in my picture. I'm holding up this little
Instagram.com/Jodie Emery.
They're gonna send it here. We're gonna put it on display because it's really neat. It took hours, and even in the tip, he put a little J and an E. Like, it's adorable.
Aww.
It's so cute. I couldn't bring it on the plane, but
well, it sounds like you had a good time in Ottawa. That's very cool.
You know what? I really should have stayed for. I don't know. Last week, when someone on Twitter said you guys should go to this forum that nobody heard about, I was like, oh God, yes, we have to go. And at first, they only booked a 24-hour. That's huge. What? You're trying to kill me?
Dab her up. Remember when Jodie wasn't allowed to smoke weed on the air because the whole border thing? Now she's just getting dabbed the fuck out.
Whoa. All right, I'm done talking.
No one's going to blow you away. Yeah. Yeah, some of those dabs destroy me, too.
What is that?
That's
Yeah, no kidding. You guys are killing me.
What is that stuff? Weird.
Yeah.
PHO.
What do you think of it?
I haven't tried too many PHO extractions.
We got Creed Taylor out here.
Yeah, this is some, what do you call it?
Oh, I'm high.
PHO, and it's
Like
got
faux.
it's got some amazing
It's like
terpenes in it. It's got some really full flavor in it. It's something that
And
showed
it
up.
gets you high very fast.
It tastes really
Whoa.
good.
That was a big hit, though.
No, that was.
I
I always. Sorry. I was like, hey,
I
Jodie,
don't
can't
dab
like
that much, you know. I'm weak here. Something I did do, like
because you were away for a day.
I was away, yeah. So that was what we were talking about. I booked only 24 hours, but then I realized, well, why would I just fly in and then leave when all the national media want to interview me that night? So I ended up changing my flights the next morning, which was good because there's a giant blizzard and freezing rain, and it was like this horrible, horrible storm that canceled all the flights. Brittany got the last plane out.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I stayed another night, so I got the next morning. But that was the most terrifying drive to the airport in my life.
Whoa.
But after the forum with all the media, I had to get from one appointment to the next, like from City Hall to CTV Studio to CBC. And there was one moment where there's a 10-minute walk, and I only had about 6 minutes to get to the next appointment. And it's freezing rain, pouring down, pelting me. There's snow this deep with slush like this. I'm running through the streets of Ottawa, this 10-minute run. Well, it turned into like probably a 5-minute run, but even the reporter sees me coming at City Hall, and she's like, oh my God, I saw you running through the snow. I'm dripping wet. I'm like, no, I'm here. Put on the headphones. Totally cool. All good to go. Because I'll do what it takes to get the message out there. Good job. Some people say I'm a media
That's great,
whore. Maybe
Jodie.
I get off on it, but I say it's because I'm grateful they ask me to speak. I'm not asking
You know
for
what
these
it is?
interviews.
It's because it's a passion. You
No,
like,
it's great.
You enjoy getting the information there, and you enjoy that that people want to listen, and that people
And
actually
you're on
are
point.
interested, and you're on point. Yeah, you talk very
And
well.
I'm going to play, we're going to play
you
an
do
example
that.
of you being on point in this video that I have. Now, this is you on Power and Politics, the CBC show.
Yeah, Rosemary Barton, she had me on Power and Politics, CBC. We pre-recorded it, and after we finished, she goes, damn, you know how to talk. She's watched me grow up over the years, interviewing me, right?
No, you
and
are
that means a lot. And then
Jodie.
afterwards, I talked to the camera guys, and they're like, you know, I bought stock in one of these weed companies. What do you think this ruling's, the decision? You know, and I'm like, everybody's involved in this. Everybody's trying to make a buck. But this interview, I'm very pleased with it, if I may say so myself, because there's a lot of good points in it. But CBC shared it around.
Yeah, it's a good interview. It's a 6-minute.
No, this is a kick-ass interview. You should be proud of it. I'm like, when I was watching it yesterday, I watched it like 3 times yesterday, actually, and I was totally blown away by how sharp you are in this. Jodie, you're on point. I don't know.
It's because I get so many interviews that I figure out what works and what doesn't, and I get these amazing talking points.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, thank you to CBC for putting it online. Don Martin, CTV, he's Power Play. These are the 2 rival national political commentators. I did his show live, and I did really well on that one, too, because we talked about patients and gardens and prices. But I don't have a copy of that. If you're a Bell subscriber, you can go get the show of the 24th and maybe get us a copy. But otherwise...
Yeah, I didn't see that.
No, they didn't put it on the internet. They put every other clip from that segment but me.
What?
Someone said, what? You let the conservative...
Don?
Rona Ambrose. They had Rona
Give him a call.
Ambrose,
Send him a text message.
the head of the Conservatives. Then they had
He
Tom
loves
Mulcair, and then they had Bill Blair, and they had me. So that's some pretty fancy company, I guess.
No
But
kidding.
They didn't put my post online, boo. So you'll have to watch CBC's, which is pretty. It's good.
This one's
it's decent.
dope.
It's all right.
So we're gonna play this one, and then on the other side, we're gonna bring Creed on the show
good,
to talk
because
about
there's a show
tonight's
here.
show. The Hip Hop Hot Box right here at Cannabis
first
Culture
of
Lounge,
many.
307 West Hastings in Vancouver. The concert series that's happening. Yeah, so
Sweet.
Creed's gonna tell us about that.
Well, thank you all for tuning in,
Thanks,
because I'm going to
Jodie.
be gone from the seat when you come back, and then I'm going to go get food, and then I shall return. I need to
Thanks,
eat.
Jodie.
It's been a long day. Cool. Thanks
for
tuning
coming
in.
on, Jodie. Always
And thank
fun
you
to
to
have you
everybody
on.
for your encouragement and support and for shopping at Cannabis Culture Store, because the only reason I was in Ottawa was because we scrambled and put $1,000 onto the credit card so I could fly there and be there and come back and do that. So that's like, I'm not funded by a lobby group or anything. I'm just funded by our store, like we all are here. So thank you to our sponsor, the Pot TV Studio, but thank you to
That's
our
right,
customers,
Prop
and thank
King.
you to everyone who
Much
shops with
love
us.
there.
And we'll get our online store back working soon. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, our Moneris is down.
Yeah, we have an
The
issue, but we're
banks-
fixing
the
it.
banks don't like weed for some reason.
Everybody's
Crazy
got
banks.
their crosses to bear.
Yeah. All right.
Thank
so,
you.
Jodie, you're awesome. We're going to play this video and see you in some of the awesomeness.
Bye,
Lisa,
Pod
is this
TV.
one, is this connected over there? Yeah, we're good to go? Okay, so let's play this. This is Jodie, CBC News, Power and Politics. And then you also did Evan Solomon. Evan Solomon used to be the host of Power and Politics.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I did Evan Solomon on the radio, and we're not going to play that on the show today, but that will be available on Pod TV this weekend, and it's on SoundCloud right now.
Oh yeah, and Sirius Radio. I didn't even know there was a Sirius Radio, but they gave me 15 minutes, and then that was fun too. I get to defend all the patients and the growers and the civil disobedience, and yeah, we broke laws. That's how we got here. So, Bill Blair, you talk about law-abiding country. We wouldn't be here talking about legalization if not for the lawbreakers. So, give it up for those who actually sacrificed and got us here. Government never gave us nothing. The courts gave it to us because we fought and we suffered and paid.
Exactly.
So props to everybody who was involved in those days. And we have more work ahead.
Don't know why I'm giving you that.
Jodie, bye.
Enjoy.
Okay, here it is. Yeah, Power and Politics.
Basically, we won, and it was nearly a complete victory. The injunction will continue until further order of the court, and we're very, very excited.
Reaction from the lawyer behind a landmark cannabis case today. A federal judge in BC has ruled that patients who use medical marijuana do have the right to grow their own. Right now, they have to buy from licensed sellers. The decision comes on the same day the federal government is talking about how it will legalize pot, a key promise in the Liberal election platform. Today, the Senate Liberals held an open caucus on the subject, and cannabis advocates from across the country came to Ottawa to attend. Joining me now, one of those advocates, a well-known face to many people, Jodie Emery, the owner of Cannabis Culture magazine and Pot TV. Nice to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So you came in, you weren't invited to the meeting, but you wanted to be there to sort of express opinions. Tell me what you thought of the meeting and the general sort of reception of the idea of legalizing marijuana.
Well, we only learned a week ago this event was taking place, and it said it was open to the public. So immediately I sent a message requesting a seat, and I found out people would even be allowed to speak. So the meeting, in my opinion, went very well. It was much more progressive and informative than I imagined. A lot of people in the public got to speak and ask questions. And although we didn't get too many firm answers, we did get at least an acknowledgement that prohibition has failed, legalization is the way to go, and we need to move as quickly as possible to do that.
Okay, so those are obviously some of the messages you've been advocating for a long time. Not surprising to hear that the Liberals deliver them. What answers did you not get in terms of how this is going to happen? There's this task force. How do you think they need to approach consultation across this country to get this actually happening?
Well, they've been talking with all sorts of different partners and experts in this industry and in this field. The Liberals have been looking at legalization for years. The United States did it in 2012, starting off, so we've had quite a bit of time to analyze it. This meeting had a lot of people that were speaking about the worries about young people and marijuana use, but really there weren't many answers about when it's going to be legal or how it will be legalized. And we didn't get an answer about the arrests of ordinary Canadians for pot possession. We were told that the law is still in force and in effect, and that Canadians are still liable to be charged for possession. And that's what we find as activists. We find that very upsetting, and we need a moratorium on arrests, and we need amnesty. For 2 million Canadians since 1965 have had criminal records, and even a senator brought up the idea that amnesty must be acted upon. These Canadians who are criminalized in the past are expected to be legal consumers of marijuana in the future. So we need to offer amnesty and hopefully issue a moratorium on arrests for adults.
Okay, but why? Because the law is the law right now. They haven't changed it, and the law won't be retroactive. So why should, people who have been charged in the past be treated differently, given amnesty? And why not apply the law? Bill Blair was a former cop. He knows how to apply the law. So what's your concern around applying the law as it now stands?
Well, millions of Canadians use marijuana, and for a lot of them, they can lose their job, their home, their children, their ability to travel, even the ability to volunteer, just because of their interaction with a cop for pot. In BC, we spend $10 million every year on pot possession cases. That's a huge amount of money. That should be going to health care. Canada has an economic crisis coming. We've got a lot of monetary issues to deal with, and hundreds of millions of tax dollars being spent going after Canadians for pot possession is a definite waste of that money.
Okay, so you think the government should legalize more quickly, or just say until we get this all sorted out, we're going to tell law enforcement not to go after people?
Well, Prime Minister Trudeau, before he got elected, said he would immediately stop the arrests for pot possession. That hasn't happened yet. And decriminalization is only a half step. It means no longer punishing the user. We don't want to end at decriminalization. We need full legalization. But until we work out the details of legalization, we need to work on decrim. We need to stop arresting people for simple possession. Again, this takes Canadians out of the job market. It costs Canadians Canadians hundreds of millions of tax dollars to go after these Canadians, and we really need the police to be reprioritizing their resources.
How do you think this should be sold once it is legalized? We saw just today a number of pharmacies pop up and say we're sort of interested in getting in on this business. What do you think will make the most sense in terms of a legal way of selling marijuana?
Ideally, I would like a model similar to Colorado, where you can have small businesses open up and sell it, similar to the craft brewery industry in Canada. You're allowed to participate in that industry, even though it's regulated. I would love to see the dispensaries brought into a legal industry to be regulated in a safe, responsible way, and to allow those who are currently in the industry right now, who built this industry and got us to where we are today, they need to be allowed to participate too. So letting Canadians grow their own at home, as this court decision has decided, and letting Canadians buy it at government shops or pharmacies or retail stores, the more options the better. Because if we move to try and restrict access to marijuana, there will be a black market that takes place, and we'll continue to control that.
Well, just to go back to the federal court ruling today, so that would allow you to grow your own marijuana, you don't think that's going to impinge on the industry and the economic opportunity that the government is obviously trying to grow here and try and get away from the black market? You don't think that that's going to send a couple of mixed messages?
Well, marijuana in BC is worth more than forestry and fishing. I mean, it's a massive industry, and a lot of people are participating in it. And that industry needs to be legal and regulated. But that doesn't mean we have to give an oligopoly or a monopoly to a certain set group of people to produce it. We need to ensure that those who are already in the industry can transition into a legal industry. And marijuana is at a prohibition price right now. Many patients cannot afford the cost of marijuana. So letting people grow their own is similar to brewing your own beer. Molson is doing just fine, even though people can brew their own wine and beer.
Okay, so your message to the Prime Minister would be, how quickly does this have to get done?
No more marijuana arrests. My immediate request to the Prime Minister is please stop arresting peaceful Canadians for pot possession. That's our first request. And we have a petition in Parliament seeking that. But we really need to see quick movement on that. Not one more Canadian should get a criminal record for pot when they're expected to buy it legally a year or more from now.
Okay. Jodie Emery, always nice to speak with you.
Thanks so much, Jodie.
What's going on, what's happening here in the last couple of days with the Senate, with the meetings, with what's happening in the press, with
the Prince of Pot and his lovely wife.
Oh shit! With the loud backdoor noise that just came blaring in, but you know what? Look who just showed up because we got something going on, and he wants to smoke some of this PHO or something.
Yeah, and here
good to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
Nothing. Well, yeah, you just showed up. You're like, I'm saying.
There we go.
Yeah, well,
Creed
I like to
Taylor's
pop in every now and then.
Beardless.
What's up? Yeah.
Even though he shaved, it's coming back pretty quick.
Yeah, I was on your show just earlier this week, and I had the full beard, and shaved it all off. I think we were talking about giving Johnny a funny shave that show too. We were talking about shaving off the eyebrows, the mohawk, the reverse mohawk.
Yeah,
that's right. It was the reverse mohawk we wanted to go for.
Right now, it's just I'm shaving it again.
Yeah,
you do like a Mr. T combo.
When this comes
off,
he's
like
I'm
up the
doing
sides
the
and then like
shave everything again.
He's gonna shave the whole deal.
I didn't know. I wanted to know if everything would grow back to shave the whole fucking thing. You know, everything. I want to see the grow rates. I got 3 different.
Did Craig help you with that? Or?
I got 3 different colors.
Damn.
Expert shaving. He's the expert shaver. So Creed tonight here 8 o'clock, 307 West Hastings in Vancouver, Cannabis Culture Lounge. The hip hop hot box.
Hip hop hot box, man. We're excited. We're excited to throw a new event of this kind of for the city and for Pot TV. I feel like it's an amazing opportunity for a lot of local artists. We got Finch and Julius. We got the People Northwest. We got this homie Leo. We got Isaac Ford. All amazing artists. Can't wait to see them perform live tonight, man. It's gonna be awesome.
It is going to be dope. That's 8 o'clock. You guys can watch that tonight on Pot TV.
Yeah, you can watch that live on Pot TV, or if you're in Vancouver, you can come check it out in person. It's $10 at the door, but there's a lot of amazing prizes, lots of amazing extracts going to be potentially sampled, given away.
Some of the sponsors, isn't Fant showing up too?
Yeah, I heard rumor is that Fant's going to be swinging through with vapor pens and dabs for people.
Yeah.
We got Cannadabs donating an amazing email kit.
Cannadabs.
Yeah, they're killing it. We got Queese Hamilton. He donated a sick heady rig.
Canna-wide, Canna-dabs. Oh, are you talking about Warren? Canna-dabs.
Yeah, Canna-dabs. Not Canna-wide, Canna-dabs.
Oh, sorry, never mind. Canna-wide's not sponsoring the event.
Pause
but Canna-wide is sponsoring this show. and look at that. Yeah. Yes. All right. There's too many cannons out there. For God's sake. Yeah. Jody's.
Nice. That was fire.
Laughing at us. Jody, are you hanging out for the hip hop show? Are you gonna rap tonight?
Hip-hopping?
Jody's rapping tonight.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, man.
Bye, Jody.
Have fun and food, Jody.
That,
Jody should be
propane
rapping.
oil's pretty fire, man.
Look at that. I want to get that up close on a cam. I don't have. There's a cam right there. My dear, would you mind throwing me that bundle of junk there? I'm going to pick a camera out of it. It's all cameras and wires. I'll take it and we can actually take a closer look. Thank you so much.
All right, I guess we're going to set up a dab cam going on right now.
Yeah, you know what? It's pretty much I haven't been able to make any hash at all. It's like zero because of the whole this, and there's no pulling bags, there's no carting, there's no. I'm as far as like pretending that I'm cutting clones, and I got Mike over here. Like I got a guy that drives me around, puts up with my shit, and everything. Can't believe it.
Awfully nice. Awfully nice.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's gotta thank him. Like right now, I just get in the car. I don't even talk anymore because that was just the first week. Was like I was like ah, but it was no, definitely. So it's things are good.
Let's see. Does this one? Oh, it's just.
There he is, right there on the couch. See him down there. Oh, that's Ashley over there in the corner.
There we go.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's that.
Some Roji OG PHO.
Well, you know what? We're just gonna say it's some PHO.
Some PHO.
Made with some
OG.
OG.
All right. Sounds good. Well, it was fire. Whatever it was,
whatever it is, it's fire.
Super tasty and
super tasty.
Yeah, it's almost so terpy you can see the terps just from looking at it.
Pretty much.
See the shiny terps.
Pretty much. We're all about terps, and that's why I'm smoking.
Terp life.
Yeah.
Terp life.
Terp life.
Johnny's getting that tattooed on his chest.
Yeah.
And there is Ashley.
Ashley got her over here.
We got the posse in the house. Ashley didn't want to come on the show today, but now she's coming on. Sorry, Ashley.
Involuntarily
look
involved.
at that beautiful Ken Foster picture. We still don't have our Pot TV sign up there, but that's a nice Ken Foster chilling.
Damn.
We got some people sleeping
The
on the couches
life.
over
We got some
here.
homies in the house.
There's always
We got
at least
some homies
2 or
in the
3
house.
people sleeping on
Yeah,
couches.
people passed out over there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and look, the Trailer Park Boys are sweeping up in the other room.
Yeah.
There's Bubbles. Oh, and there's Julian.
Shit.
All right. Here, let me go back to the regular cam. Woo. What's up, guys? All right. Did I try which? No, I haven't. I haven't tried. Oh, man. So, yeah, I'm really high now, but I'd like to try that too.
Yeah, man.
Sorry I made you not
it's worth
use your
hitting for
torch
sure.
earlier. Oh, I have another video. J-Mac's got a question from the audience. Yes, J-Mac. Oh, J-Mac wants to try something.
J-Mac wants to try the PHO.
Yeah, of course, yeah. You and everybody else in the room, buddy.
Yeah.
You gotta give Johnny a massage for that one. Oh, a sublimator behind us here. What happened? It stopped. There we go. Now they're flowing. Is it too hot there? That's good.
Got to get that perfect temp. With the Schwab carb cap.
Holy shit. Oh, good Lord.
Terps.
Oh, man, that's really nice. Oh, it hits me hard, though.
Terps.
Ooh-wee. Terp. Tasty. Wow, that was good. Oh, what happened to our chat? So we watched some videos. Now, I was going to play you guys this Mulcair video because I think it's worth checking out. Because Angry Thomas Mulcair, old Angry Tom, he's angry again. This time he's angry at Justin Trudeau and the Liberal government for not decriminalizing cannabis yet and for still allowing people to be arrested. So that's what he's saying, at least. He's upset with Bill Blair and these folks. So we're going to play you the video here, if it will pop up. There it is. Hello, website. I didn't have this one prepared because I just thought of it now.
Dabs.
So. Dabbing. So, yeah, tonight, Creed, this is just the first in a line of these concert series.
Exactly. I mean, we're hoping to do this every month. Last Friday of every month would be ideal. Always live streaming on Pod TV, of course, and in cooperation with a lot of dope sponsors, a lot of amazing glass artists, extract artists, and just cannabis community members. We're just willing to promote all sorts of art on every form, on every scale. And yeah, I just feel like it's an amazing opportunity for not just hip-hop artists, but artists in general. I mean, we support, like I said, the extract artists and the glass artists. We're going to have amazing raffles, always unbelievable prizes to give away. So there's just lots of things to be a part of just showing up. Yeah, I mean, the full e-nail set from Cannadabs, it's like a good $500 prize at least, you know, for a $3 raffle ticket. It's an amazing opportunity for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
That's awesome.
So tonight, 8 o'clock, $10 at the door, 307 West Hastings. If you can't come down, check it out on Pod TV. And now we're going to watch this video here. This is
Angry Tom.
Angry Tom, Bearded Tom. He's not too angry in this one, I guess, but he could be angrier. But
he's just salty. He's just a little salty in this one.
All right, so here, I hope we... Good for volume? Okay, let's do this. Come on.
So, you're a CPA.
What's the Let's mute that. We don't want to hear this, but we can watch it.
So we always get the commercials first.
The folks at home want to see this one? Oh, what? What's that all about?
Shake his hand. Can you imagine? That's going to be fields and fields of weed. See that? Did you see that? Did you picture that?
That should have been weed.
There, see, look at this ad. There's
That's
some
the
girl
rest
flying a
that we use to
helicopter.
fill that thing. The
What are
water's
they even
coming in right now,
advertising?
nothing's gonna
This is
happen.
such a generic footage.
Professional
growing business.
Oh, they're accountants.
Wow, that was such a...
Did you like that? Yeah.
Such a riveting...
Police are having a heck of a hard time right now. And that's why the head of the Police Association of Canada was saying that just a couple of weeks ago. You know, the signals that keep getting sent out is things have changed. Then the government tries to dial it back once they've sent out the signal that things have changed. So there is something that could have been changed immediately, which is to decriminalize. That could have been done immediately, make sure nobody gets a criminal record, because there are people being arrested now for simple possession, and they're not going to have as an excuse somebody put it in their electoral platform. So let's get it done. In our society, we speak through our laws. But yesterday, we had a justice minister using a conditional verb to say that people should respect the law. She wasn't even clear on that. It was supposed to clarify things, but it did everything but. Bill Blair today tried to say, no, things haven't changed. But the perception of the public is that it has. So I think that we owe it to ourselves to be clear on this, to make sure nobody ever again in Canada gets a criminal record for simple possession of marijuana for personal use. If it's an adult, you just let that go through. You can remove that criminal restriction right away.
Tom speaking some truth. Some truth.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Took him a while to speak that truth, though. Like, geez, you know, where was this guy a while ago when he was running? Or like, I don't know, why didn't he come on? I guess they did say they wanted to decrim, but he should have been stronger on all this stuff, and he probably would have won the election, or at least not won the election, but probably would have at least become the oppositional party. You know, in the end, they kind of got destroyed. The NDP had a chance, but I think Tom, I don't know, everybody liked Jack, and everybody liked his progressive policies, and Tom tried to play it nice, put that middle ground, more like the Liberals. He tried to out-liberal the Liberals, and the Liberals were the ones who ended up being the NDP style, going more progressive than even the NDP was on these issues. So I think that ended up working big in Justin Trudeau's favor. And Tom could have done that. But it's good to see him coming along now, using it as a way to attack the Liberals. Good.
He wasn't charismatic enough to take that same issue and carry it like Trudeau would be. You know,
we have
like,
now
I hope
is a
Trudeau.
Liberal government that's got to put in
He's right, though.
legislation for us to be able to continue to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Yep.
Do it right.
Yeah,
Or we're just going to see you back in court. So,
yeah.
Yeah, don't want to hear some kind of stupid restrictions. Well, you can have like 8 plants, and you can have 2 bloom boxes.
Oh yeah, bloom boxes.
Actually, their stock went up.
Bloom boxes and boom boxes.
So,
word.
All right, so tonight, I guess, are we done now? Did we do everything we needed to do today? I don't know what's
Pretty
going
good,
on.
Dan.
I think we did.
Want to talk
Anything
about
I'm
it?
forgetting?
It's over?
No, Mike doesn't want to be on here. J-Dog wants. We're going to get him ahead of this PHO. We'll get what you want. I know you're here. We'll get you on the side.
Yeah, well, but we're going to stop the show. We're going to wrap this up because I got to go and we got to set up for the thing tonight.
Yeah, we got this
Sorry,
event, man. We gotta start packing up and setting this up. But you guys can tune in, man. 8 o'clock. Check it out. I think it's going to be quite an entertaining extravaganza of hip hop and cannabis consumption.
Tune into Pod TV. That's pod.tv, www.pod.tv.
Like I said, if you want to be in the live studio audience, it's being filmed on location in the lounge. I mean, I'm not talking about a show inside the studio here. I'm talking right outside in the lounge. So if you're coming to enjoy hitting the volcano or anything like that, you're going to be a part of the show. So make sure you come out and check it out. Support local hip hop.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a fun night. So get down here. And if you can, tune in right here on Pod TV.
Yes, sir.
Pretty much, you know what? If you don't live down here, tune in to Pod TV and you'll be able to watch it. So,
Hey,
see you there.
Look what's behind us now. Oh,
What?
shit. Med Tanner.
I got one of those things.
There's Johnny.
I think everybody's got one. You got one?
Hell yeah, I got one.
Special thanks to our sponsors. Canawide, #1.
Jeez,
on the
I don't
table
have one.
here.
Give 'em one.
These guys are making the show happen, really getting us high all day on the show here.
Hair's stuck in
That
it. What the hell
happens,
was
man.
up
That's
with
the
that?
beard
And
problem.
Canawide has
I'm
really
used
good
to that.
fucking
That's
stuff,
like-
too. Like, really good.
Johnny's getting his chin hairs stuck in the microphone there. That's a beard problem that like all beard people know, you know.
Yeah,
the-
yeah. You
It's
don't
just like, you know
don't
what,
run the chin
like,
on the mic, man.
I'm not shaving anything
You eat
until
that
the
thing.
collar comes off, and then I'm going to shave
at
it
all
all
the
bald again,
different,
and then I'm good to go for the summer. Works out pretty good. Like, you know what? It's like 2-minute showers.
Yeah,
Maybe
trust
3
me,
minutes.
I don't miss
Wow.
it, man. Having all this hair, it's a gift and a curse. I don't know
Yeah, I
what to
had
say.
hair like that too, past my shoulders. I got all the old videos protesting night streets. So like,
Yeah.
who's that long-haired guy?
Yeah, I remember. I seen the
It
pictures.
was awesome. Man. And suddenly it just slowly got shorter, and then it shaved.
Here's our weed.
Damn,
Weed.
the plug from
plug.
Canada with the fire.
People like looking at weed,
Oh
don't they?
shit!
People like looking
What are the
at
strains?
Hey, check out this. Check this out.
Peep
People like
that
glass too.
Peep that Freddie Farron fume tech in there. Ooh, look at that. That's looking
That's
heavy.
pretty like dope. That's pretty damn cool right there, guys.
Damn. Fly Glass by Hippo.
Yeah, there you
Canadian
go.
OG glass blower for sure.
Yeah, hey, you know, it's all this.
Oh,
thing.
of course.
There you go.
Definitely one of the most respected OGs.
Well, I'm very happy to be able to pick up
Yeah.
such a fun-
Yeah, for sure, man. These banger hangers, like I said, they're some of the nicest in the city that are going out. The wrap and rake fume techs and the marbles on the back, just absolutely stunning. I'm a huge glass fan. Anyways.
Well, during that glass symposium they had here, I picked it up at that event, and it was a great event. I was able to pick up a nice piece.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, very happy. Thanks, Jesse. Love you, man. And then everybody around me like, you got to get this piece. This is the one that you want. Weren't you there? Maybe.
Definitely. Yeah, I was there for
Yeah,
sure.
you're like, yeah, no, I was there.
Yeah, no.
Corey had. There's some great pieces there. It was actually definitely something more enlightening. I'm learning more about glass every day.
Yeah.
I'm not. I smoke hash or weed.
Like I said, I feel like the extract culture has expanded hand in hand with the glass culture, and the glass blowers are creating all the pieces that we need to consume all the extracts in these fancy.
I used to
heady
smoke it on a
ways,
tin
so.
can, man. Put some holes in
Exactly.
it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like we've come a long way from there, man.
Right now,
And
it's like I
now,
gotta get this torch out. I gotta grab this bong with a drop down, hook it up to a nail. I got this.
If we're gonna
tool.
smoke sophisticated
And I don't have
concentrates,
one. I
we
got
need
like 8 different
sophisticated
tab
devices.
tools. You got like 15 different concentrates.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have this little jar. I can't wait. I just have like the connoisseur dab bar.
Yeah, no, man. It's gotten to the point where you got to be equally invested in what you're consuming and how you're consuming it. And if you want to smoke nice extracts, if you're out there buying $80, $90 grams of oil, you need a rig that's equally as nice to smoke.
You need to be able to smoke, yeah. And then you realize that once you get into the glass and how it's good to function.
Got to get the quartz banger, the proper low temp technique going on,
Get a
and then
hold
it's
hand,
it's a
grab
game
the
changer.
timer.
You'll,
I don't have the Q-tips. So,
the Q-tip tech, everything.
Got to have all the gear.
Oh,
Q-tip
man.
tech.
I don't have the tech. Dab tech, Q-tip tech.
Big, huge thanks again. I'm still trying to wrap the show up.
Okay, let's go.
Sorry, man. We're chatting
Is that right?
We're high. We just did some dabs.
I want to say a huge thank you to Charlo Greene for coming on today.
Thanks, Charlo.
That's crazy that they
Dana.
arrested her at the border and messed with her and everything, but it sounds like it's going to be okay. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Hopefully, it doesn't. There's no.
She's coming back.
charges
She's
or
fun.
anything.
We'll see her next week.
We'll see. Yeah, but we'll be talking to her again soon. And thanks to everybody else who came on the show today: Dana Larson, Jason Wilcox, Jodie Emery. Who am I forgetting? This guy over here, Creed.
What
this
up?
guy
What
over
up? Thank
here,
you for having me,
Johnny.
man. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
This guy right there, Jer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
J-Man.
then we got the audience. We got Ashley. We got the Martins, the neighbors.
Studio squad. Studio squad.
The neighbors.
The neighbors. And we got Jay and we
cousin
got
Cubone Capone
cousin
posted up on
Cubone.
the couch.
I'm so thirsty.
And of course, all you guys out there in
And
Pot
Melissa.
TV land. Oh, of
forget
course,
Melissa in the
Melissa. She's
control
holding
room.
it down
Melissa,
over there.
yeah.
How come she's been
Melissa's-
on the show? Should we get her on the show
She's
here?
producing the show right now.
Maybe we should give her like a Duchess
Quick like
Bong
cameo,
here.
like she comes out here and like shows her face real quick. Oh no!
No, she's not. She's like, I don't want to be on TV. Cheers,
I'm sneezing.
All right, peace out. I gotta take off. We gotta start setting up for this show, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Peace, Johnny.
This was a good one.
Thanks for the dab.
Peace out there, Pod TV.
Grab my card,
Peace,
Pod
see you
TV.
next week. I'm going to shut the show down and enjoy it all. We'll see you again very soon right here next Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific time. And you can watch shows Pod TV all week long. Check it out, pod.tv. You know the address. Peace.
Peace.